なんかさ、私が日本語を勉強し始めた後にコロナの時
good evening, or afternoon, or morning, wherever you might be. I don't normally stream around this time, but I thought, and Anna and I thought, might be nice to stream around this time to free up tomorrow so that we could spend it together. And so I'm coming in a little later. She's coming in a little later. In her stream today, she's playing Project 8020, or I think that's what it's called, something like that, from the Dark Pictures Anthology. So if retro isn't quite your speed, you might check her out in the link that I have down below. Directive 8020? I can't remember now. But it is the beginning chapter of the Dark Pictures Anthology, Season 2. I don't think the talking part, I'll go ahead and move it over, but I don't think the talking part is going to be the big part of this one, just because it is as late as it is, and it kind of, I don't expect there to be a lot of people who show up. This is more just, in all honesty, the same reason I started this channel for anyone else to be a part of. It's also available for me to be to use it as a means of catharsis, and so it's for me to be able to play a game and to have fun and to unwind and to speak my thoughts and to commit to them and to have them available for posterity. And in some ways it's to go back and to listen and to look and to see how I've grown in my thinking. There are a couple of other things that I have, though, that are intended to, that I'm intending to try and bring in the near future to the channel. Let me adjust my IEMs. There we go. One of them, of course, is we're going to do this finale episode for Deathgate. After the finale episode of Deathgate, the next long-form game that I'm anticipating we play is The Witcher 3, but we're going to do it a little differently. So rather than just doing it with me, it's actually going to be Anna playing it. She's never played The Witcher 3 all the way through. I've played it through several times. I quite enjoy it. It'll be her playing it through, and I believe with the DLC, and me kind of being here to help guide her as best as I possibly can. So, if she runs into a problem, a fight that's a little too tough, or she's having trouble, I can kind of help her navigate that. One second, let me make an adjustment here. And so that's going to be the next long form. And in addition to that, I've actually spoken with my brother a few times, and he is interested in us doing kind of what we had done before when this very channel started almost 10 years ago, when we basically played games that we had fun and just fun with and just kind of talked. And we don't live near each other, so we will try when we get to catch up to play those games together, capture the footage, come back, edit it. But if not, we're going to try and make little time frames where we can play and then take the footage and chop it up and edit it and put it back out, just as a fun thing. I don't yet know how pierly we'll do that. I think we're going to try and do it once or twice a month is the goal. If you would like a taste of what that, and you'll have to forgive me, I'm a little unintentionally congested. But if you'd like a taste of what some of that is like, my recommendation is check out some of the older videos we've done on the channel. I think one of the most popular ones has been the Halo video that we've done, where it's myself and him and two others and playing just playing video games that we enjoyed, had fun with, had a history with, and enjoying just kind of reminiscing and sharing, or having you, I guess, bringing you into the nostalgia, if we can, if you don't have an existing. I'm very interested to see that. Mic sounds good too. It's crisp. Thank you. I hope so. I'm using a different shotgun microphone, and then I'm using IEMs. I'm using some Shure IEMs, which are quite nice, but you never know how it's going to sound. You never know if it's going to catch the detail, and I have a voice that can very easily be made muddy. So I appreciate that very much. So those are the ideas. Today, the idea is to hit the finale of Deathgate. There are a couple things I guess I want to go through then, because I think the talking portion of this, normally we come to the wizard screen and I stare at my little book there with about six. I just throw this out there because about 600 Ewoks haven't been here. I have to treat it as if it's actually about 600 Ewoks. Fun fact, if you've not been into one of my streams in a while, this is the retro room. This is the gallery of thought. It's me sitting down. It's the way that I envision myself. Sitting down and reading just a book in a fire, in a place with a bookshelf. And on the edge of my cloak just there, lounging in the fire, is my Willow, the little kitty cat there with the little tail twitches. I don't know. I think she has tail twitches, but let me take a look. I don't know if it twitches or not. I'd like it to, but I don't think it is twitching. It looks like it is. I can't quite tell. But that's little Willow. The little tail twitches. She was my favorite little animal friend of all time, and she passed away a few months ago of a heart attack. So this lets her live with me in the way it lets her live with me digitally as she did with me in life, which was pretty well down about my feet while I would read, twitching a little tail and just being content with where she was. Normally, this is the screen where I come to philosophize and to talk about what has been on my mind, and to sharpen my mind potentially in the duller areas against people who have the appropriate abrasion. But again, I expect this to be an unorthodox time, and I don't expect a ton of people to be able to see this one live, and so I'm more anticipating doing this again, firstly for posterity, and secondly just because it would be nice to play a video game and have fun. But it does give me an opportunity to put a few things, or to bring a few things to attention. So I've already said the next long play series will be Anna and I playing The Witcher, going through. I wonder if there was an IRL. Yeah, that's little Willow. That's I have a little glass heart-shaped bottle corked with clippings of her fur. I have a clay paw print of hers, and then I have her ashes just behind me. And I figured it would be nice to have her there. I had her for a long time. I had her for a decent amount of time, I suppose. She was I guess she would have been roughly 9 or 10 years old, which is a lot older than she would have been able to without our intervention live anyway. But it doesn't change the fact that she was about the favorite little furry friend that anybody could have. But as I said, the next long play series will be The Witcher 3, which will be played by Anna. I'll help her navigate. I am a huge fan of The Witcher 3, have been a huge fan of The Witcher 3 for a long time. I'm not going to lie. I've played it a few times. I've played it several times. I will keep the guide. I have the big guide. I'm not going to use a cell phone or computer. I'm going to use the big strategy guide, the big book that they give you. It's literally biblical in length. And if I have to use it, I'm going to flip through that because I think that would be such an interesting and such a fun way to do it. She's not played all the way through it, so I think it would be really fun to get to experience that with her. And she said this today. She said, I really want to play it. She goes, I've just not been as I get somewhere, I get frustrated. And I haven't been as tenacious because you have such a passion. But she goes, I know your passion of it will drive it through because I'm super interested in it. I just don't have that tenacity. And so I'm going to try and help her get through. And hopefully she really enjoys it. But it'll give us an opportunity to do something together, which I know for a fact I will enjoy, and I hope so. I hope she will also. And again, this is for the brother. Will probably be random. It'll probably be random odds and ends, kind of as we did in the past. Something that we have a link to, or something that we have a lot of fun with, something like that. For anybody who is interested in other channels that I believe to be really fun and good and to provide something similar to what I do, some place to decompress, to enjoy nostalgia, and to participate in events, gaming, conversation, or otherwise, I would highly recommend checking out the links below in my description, where we have Thumbros, who does speed racing. He's a speed racing, but retro gamer, specifically Contra, Ninja Gaiden, things of that nature. He does a great lot of them. And then, of course, Ash, who has been will be coming up with a new channel. I'm not yet sure what the link to that will be, but I highly recommend keeping your ear to the ground for that because I know that will be fun. And then, of course, Omega Ace Gaming, who is fantastic. I believe the other day he gave Clock Tower another shot, which I think Clock Tower is one of the hidden gems of the Super Nintendo, and it is now purchasable on all of the new consoles. I'm not sponsored, but it is a fantastic horror game. If you've not played it, it's available on all of the major platforms. I heavily recommend picking it up because it is a ridiculously good horror game from the Super Nintendo era. In addition to all of that, if somebody should happen to want to read my writings, just little articles, things I'm thinking of, philosophies, video games, commentaries, and interact with them too. Let me know where I'm wrong. There is a Substack link down below where I have started to write different various articles and such. I would heavily, I guess, warn that I'm not intending to be liked or disliked. I'm simply intending to put out the way that I see particular circumstances. And there is a comments box below. If you disagree with me, I think it's a great place to have discussions at a more leisurely pace. If you miss a stream, or if you and I don't have that opportunity to speak in real life or over the voice channels, etc., I think it's a good place for us to be able to talk about these contentious things in a respectful way, but also at a leisurely pace. This is quite nice. And I think what I'm going to do, I think that's going to be the short of it. Just because I know this is a later stream and I don't want to hold anybody up terribly. If you will forgive me, I'm going to go ahead and switch over the sound, and we're going to see if we can't. I'm going to try to do this right the first time. Every time I take a little bit of an absence, I forget how to do it. And as much as I would love to say this is a professional setup, it is a professional setup, but it is not a professional manning the setup. So bear with me, please. I think... There we are. Let's go ahead and fade the music out. And I think it's done here. It is taking a moment for the game to load, so just forgive me a moment. There we go. Let me see if I hit the right button the first time. I did. How cool is that? As the first time I've hit the button the right time, I think on the first try. All right. So for anybody who is... Oh, 1 second. You can't hear the game audio. Wait 1 second. I'm going to make a quick adjustment so you can hear the game audio. Okay, let's see if this works. I can't tell yet if what's being heard is what is coming through, so I'm just going to double check. Yeah, it seems like it. All right. Yeah, sounds like it to me, so I think we're going to go along with that. So for anybody who is unfamiliar, this game is, again, Deathgate. This came out in 1993, based off of books, a book series by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman. Really good book series, but if you are interested in playing this game, it is absolutely free to play if you have a decent computer. And it doesn't have to be good at all, just halfway decent. You can absolutely get this game for free. I've put a link down in the description where you can grab it for free for its abandonware. Go for it, have fun. We've already solved a ton of puzzles, and this is a very puzzle-centric game. When we last left off, a dragon, a black dragon, and the representation of all evil within a thing called the Wave, took my form, went back and met Tsar, and convinced him to go back into the labyrinth, where we would find the location to create this great spell called the Interconnection. And we are going to try and prohibit him from doing that, and encourage him to do something else. I think we want to do the Interconnection. I think he wants to do the Reformation. So we're going to go ahead and go forward. Let's just look at those. The remains of previous explorers of the Field of Vines are wrapped tightly around the spires. The bodies are both man and animal shaped. No women though, huh? You recall when you escaped the labyrinth, the choke vines weren't much of a problem then. It was winter and the season drove the vines into a type of hibernation. They couldn't move in the cold. Now that the weather is warmer, they thrive and force you to deal with them in order to cross. Squirming, writhing vines cover the distance between here and the forest. There's no way to get there without trudging through the sea of choke vines. So we know, I think, that's a pretty good hint that we should probably make things cold. We know that heat and cold were the very first two spells we ever learned. Cold spell floats over the sea of twisting vines. It expands and drops over the field like a blanket. As it does, you see frost form. The vines begin to move more and more slowly until they are torpid, completely still. Alright. Let's keep going forward then. Back over the field of choke vines you've recently crossed, you see the... Wait, why am I looking back? Hold on. Okay, I guess that's where I wanted to go. You stumble out of the brush only to come face to face with 3 wounded tiger creatures. Unfortunately, what you know of the labyrinth tells you that the only thing more dangerous than a tiger creature is a wounded one. They stare at you in surprise and then let out a growl and tense to leap. You don't have time to do much but run. Popped into the Mrs. Stream to say hello. Oh, I bet she welcomed that. She's playing a scary game. I'm playing an old game. She's playing a brand new one. Oh, no, it's okay. Do whatever's most fun and most relaxing to you. No worries. I'm going to have fun playing this game, this 30-plus-year-old game regardless. It's always a pleasure to have you, but I don't want you to feel obligated. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't have much time. The tiger creature falls on you in a fury of teeth and claws. At that moment, everything in the world is sharp and covered with blood. You discover that without an effective plan, a lone patron simply cannot defend against these monsters. And I'm probably dead. Yeah. So we're just going to undo. And I'm going to go ahead and go run. I don't think I have anything to fool them with. Let me wear this black robe again. Oh, wait, did they... I didn't know they were still chasing me. Ah! I see. The tiger creatures hesitate when they come to the field, but after observing your safe crossing, they charge in after you. When you pause to look back, they're already about halfway across. Now that they see you, they start sprinting. You don't think that you can run any further without them overtaking you. So then indeed I won't. What I will do instead is I will cast a spell of heat. This looks really cool. I'll have to go back and watch the other playthroughs. Hopefully it's nice and relaxing. This is a game from 1993. There we go. The frost disappears as the heat spell takes hold. At first the plants move sluggishly, but as the torpidity subsides, they resume their normal activity. The tiger creatures are caught up in the middle of the field when the vines reawaken. The plants wrap around their struggling prey and drag them off to separate spires. With wild eyes, the tiger creatures watch lightning strike a spire only a few hundred yards to the west. Then it strikes the next closest spire and proceeds to work its way down the line. Soon the lightning blasts the 2 closest spires. The stench of cooking tiger meat reaches you even here. And I'm going to guess these new skeletons are probably... So let's go ahead and refreeze these vines. Yeah, this game is free, too. If you have a laptop or any kind of halfway decent computer, I've got a link to it in the description. I don't get any sort of a kickback. It's just about playing and sharing games. This is abandonware. Okay. And so now we can go back to where they were. I want to take this. There we are. Can I take this one too? No, I can't take that one. Okay, we have a couple of different places to go. Let's take a look at the burial cave. Ooh. Hey, Thumb Bros, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. It is in the evening. It's not my usual time. I normally will go around midday to 3 p.m. my time. But instead I've done a little late. It's just kind of a nice, relaxing, playing a game. This is the Tiger Creature's burial cave. Paintings on the wall depict their gods, and bones are strewn on the floor. I'll probably take that bone, because that's standing out quite a bit. Take a look at the painting. The crude cave painting depicts a dark god of the tiger creature's, presumably, death, chasing after its tiny feline followers and shooting bolts of lightning. It is clothed in a black robe which show only a skull-like head. It's an interesting insight into the Tiger Man religion. It isn't interesting. They just got a god that comes and shocks them dead, and that's exactly what I did, but that is telling. You stand on the outskirts of a village. In the throes of battle, a pack of tigermen circle a group of patrons huddled under a magic shield. Okay, so let me wear this robe. You slip the black robe on over your body. Although the back is rather torn from the front, you cut an imposing figure. Let me... can I put that on the electric zinger we got way back at the beginning? You slip the tiger creature's skull over the central prong of the electric zinger. Can I put that here? You slip the robe over the electric zinger. So now we would have something that looks similar to the tiger god that they had that shocks them. Okay, let's activate the zinger then. Oh, it has no power. Okay. I need to retreat then. I have an idea. Let me try this. I think what I'm going to have to do is have it capture them, or the electric zinger, and then have the zinger shock with lightning, give it power, and then take it. So let's try this again. I'm going to go ahead and put the zinger at the choke vines. You hurl the zinger into the massive twisting vines. They snatch it out of the air and carry it off to the nearest spire. Predictably, lightning strikes the spire, but instead of destroying the Sartan artifact, the energy is totally absorbed by the zinger. It charges itself with the power of the lightning, and that gives me points. So now, I don't know where the zinger is. Oh, it's right there. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is the freeze spell again. They have a little bit of back and forth here. I'm okay with it, but it's a little bit. Let it float again, and I'm going to come back and grab the zinger. Now we've got this charged up god-looking thing. Whoops. Twisted trees grow at odd angles, branches thrust outward like daggers. There are places in the labyrinth where the trees are sentient and those branches are as employed as weapons. Okay, we'll just go forward. We'll keep going forward. Now I should be able to activate the zinger. You pull the switch attached to the electric zinger. The contraption flies out of your hands, twisting and turning in the air, accompanied by a screeching metallic whine. The black robe flops back and forth, and lightning flies from the eyes of the mounted skull. All of the combatants stare up at the apparition. The tiger creatures point and hiss at the flying sideshow, and then scatter in random directions, pure terror in their eyes. When the zinger's power drains, it drops out of sight, somewhere in the forest. The shield around the huddled villagers finally fall. Methodically, they begin to scatter through the village, locating and tending to the wounded. One man, seriously injured, lies in front of you, the headman of the village, who valiantly supported the magic shield for so long, approaches the wounded man and summons a healer. A nervous, young-looking woman rushes over, nearly dropping her package of healing herbs and implements. She surveys the horrible wounds sustained by the fallen patron and gasps, but a stern look from the headman prods her into her routine. She tries to clean and dress the wounds, but they are too severe. You can tell she is inexperienced and that this case is too much for her. Can we take a look at him? Tracker is in no condition to have a conversation, at least not a very lively one. Talk to healer? Focused on attempting to close the wounds of the man lying in front of her, the healer ignores you. Okay, let's talk to the headman, I guess.
I never expected you to return. I should kill you for what you've done. If you hadn't driven those tiger creatures off, I would kill you. Why you did that after you led them here in the first place?
Music is still a little loud for the voice, so give me 1 second to make the adjustment.
You've done enough damage.
I'm going to go ahead and I always forget to adjust it, so let me...
Of course you...
Bear with me here.
Not more than 2 hours ago, you and Lord Czar passed through this village. Unwittingly, we helped you. We gave you current directions towards the center because for some reason that's where you wanted to go. You were very pleasant then. You thanked us and went on your way. Shortly thereafter, you returned alone, leading a charge of the tiger creatures. During the battle, you
And we can see that his heart rune is fine, so it's probably that other one is... Let's see.
That wasn't me. Lord Czar is accompanied by a shape-shifting dragon. I'm on their trail.
A shape-shifting dragon. That's a good one. I wouldn't put it past the labyrinth, though. It's getting more and more devious every day. But as long as he doesn't realize the true nature of his dragon, he is in mortal danger.
It's very dramatic for certain.
What would you have?
Let me think on this.
Very well.
And I'm gonna go ahead and... We're gonna make the adjustment. We'll knock it down to about here. That's a little better. There we go. There we go. Now we can talk to him.
Yes, my friend. How can I help?
Yeah, now we can hear the voice. Or I can hear the voice better. Please do let me know if you can also.
Can you tell me where Lord Czar and the dragon went when they left here?
Certainly. They entered the forest to the north, but that information won't help you much. The labyrinth reinvents itself all the time. Paths the Tsar and the dragon followed could have vanished, could even be pits or swamps. Only a skilled tracker.
Good, okay.
Now.
Let's see if we can find that tracker.
Yes, we do have such a man, but he was on guard duty when the beasts attacked. He fought valiantly, but the pack was too large, and he took the brunt of the charge. He was eventually overcome. He is alive, but I fear that his wounds will prove fatal. The healer is with him now, but I don't have much hope.
Let
Never
me see
mind.
if I can help
You
him.
have to tend to your wounded. In fact, is there anything I can do to help?
Regretfully, no, unless you are more skilled than our current healer. Most of our
Now
people...
remember, the labyrinth where we are now is the place that our people were sentenced basically as a rehabilitation/torture program. But we've all learned that the people that have tried to banish us there don't seem to be terrible people. For some reason, it seems that this has just kind of gotten out of hand. Alright.
Let me think on this.
Very well. I must instruct the survivors to begin packing up the village. We can't remain here for long. The scent of so much blood on the wind will draw predators from all parts of the labyrinth. If you think of anything, simply ask.
Okay, so let's see, can we help? Can we help? I do have a healing salve. Because of the severity of the man's wound, you end up emptying the crock of healing salve over his chest. You can see the gashes close up in the space of a few heartbeats. The healer gasps, but the headman nods. He looks at you with newfound respect. The healer is shocked, but he doesn't let this amazing development slow her down. But she doesn't. Quickly, she packs away all of her tools and moves on to help the other injured villagers. In her haste, she drops a cord, presumably used to stitch the wounds. The headman stays on to direct the healthy patrons in packing up the village. It appears that he plans to quit this site soon. I'm going to go ahead and take that cord. Can I talk with you?
You healed me, brought me back from the brink of death. I am indebted to you.
It was nothing.
It was nothing.
It was everything. I'm in your debt. I don't like being in someone's debt. Tell me how I can repay you.
Okay. I can insult him. I can ask him for help. I can insult the healer. Let's see if I can do this.
I hear you're a pretty good tracker.
I know the labyrinth. I know its signs. I can sense how it changes, sometimes even how it will change. If I find the start of a trail, I will never lose my way.
Okay.
Do you think you can help me?
Of course. I'm in your debt. Tell me what I must do to absolve myself of it.
Smart man.
I'm
Try
on the
this.
trail of Lord Czar and his companion, who happens to be a shape-shifting dragon. Do you think you can find them?
Of course. That's what I do. I will accompany you while I track them.
He doesn't look like he's wearing anything that's kind of this same time. He kind of looks like he's just wearing homeless man garb.
My village.
Okay, so he is in my camp. Can I go into the shelters? The simple shelters are sewn together hides of various animals. You recognize some, but others come from the beasts the labyrinth must have spawned since you left. The huts are lightweight and portable, matching the nomadic nature of the patrons. Okay. Let's see. Traveling at a pace that you have trouble matching and discovering small clues you would never have found, the tracker leads you through the dark wood. Eventually you come upon a huge cave. A monster which resembles a huge insect, though much more formidable, stands guard outside.
The trail leads here into that cave. I've seen this cave before. There is no exit. Your quarry lies inside. The creature guarding the entrance is a Chaoten. I've only encountered their like once or twice before, and I can tell you this. If you spill its blood, every drop will grow into a duplicate of the monster. Only by killing it before it bleeds.
So it's basically a Hydra.
With a precise thrust through its heart, can you keep it from regenerating? A sloppy attack, and you'll have an army of these things to contend with. Usually the best way to deal with this type of beast is to avoid it. I don't think you've got that luxury, though. If you're going into that cave, you'll have to go through the Chaoten.
Yeah, so it's basically a Hydra.
My obligation to you is over. I've led you to the end of the trail. The people of my village need my help, so I must return. Good luck.
The tracker bolts into the wood. Between one movement and the next, you've lost all trace of him. You're now alone, save for the delightful company of the Chaoten, of course. Hey y'all, church finished going through the plot developments I missed, so I'm less confuzzled. Church finished going through the plot. Oh, no worries at all. We're just going back through the labyrinth in order to find Czar and the dragon. So no worries. Okay, so it's a praying mantis. Okay, This magic arrow is always supposed to find its target, isn't it? Let me save first. I'm doubtful. Save. I will go ahead and keep it on the labyrinthian. This should be ideally the last one, so let's use this magic arrow. I think that would be the way. I have nothing to shoot the arrow. Oh, but I do have cord now, don't I? And I have a curved bone. Let's put the cord on the bone. You tie the ends of the elastic tendon to the arched bone. The result is a serviceable bow, however primitive. Now I should be able to bind this arrow with the bow. You slide the arrow alongside the bow to check for compatibility and find that it's just about the right size. The bow is very primitive, and you don't think that it can provide much accuracy. But at least it can propel the arrow with some force. Satisfied, you replace both in your inventory. I believe I don't need power. I just need propulsion. With amazing accuracy, far more than you would have expected from such a primitive bow, you loose the arrow at the monster. The arrow penetrates straight through its heart, and the beast falls dead before a drop of its blood can fall. Unfortunately, the arrow has buried itself so deeply into the creature it cannot be retrieved. I wanted to try anyway, just to see if there was a fix. The arrow has lodged itself deep into the carcass of the Chaoten, and you can't pull it free. See, there is blood there, but luckily that was... Oh well. I think you can also hack at it with the shear, but it does exactly what you think it'll do, and it multiplies the number of Chaoten. The cave looks like a wound in the mountain, like a gigantic boulder was ripped from the wall, leaving a ragged hole behind. Let's go that way then. You walk towards the cave, but a familiar wave of fear washes over you. The leaden weight of terror pulls you to your knees. You can't force yourself to enter the opening. We know we're going the right way. That means... No. I need to drink nullifying water. You take a swig of the water. Immediately you sense the effects. Your magic power drains away, making you feel as helpless as a newborn. But this also means that foreign magic cannot affect you. Now I can go forward. Yep, there's Sangdrax. Stalagmites and stalactites with knife-sharp edges stipple the cave. In the midst of them, Sangdrax waits patiently for you.
I've been expecting you, patron. I knew that the obstacles I placed would do no more than delay you. But they gave me enough time to find the portal to the vortex. Tsar is there now, waiting for me. As soon as I take care of you, I'll return to complete my task.
Swathed in darkness, the twin glowing orbs narrow as deep, familiar voice booms from the back of the cave. I was told to crush this stone in the presence of true evil. You press on the stone and it collapses in the palm of your hand like a wad of paper. The green glow explodes around you, blinding you. When the spinning colors fade, you see that somehow the stone has summoned Zifnab, mounted atop his dragon. You are so stunned by the sight that you drop the bottle you carry to the cave floor, where it shatters. Sangdrax hisses with anger and disbelief. His fury takes control, and lightning quick he lashes out at the pair. He tries to bury his fangs in the neck of the new dragon, to inject his deadly venom into its body. But Zifnab's dragon is too fast. He rakes a claw across Sangdrax's face and forces him back into the cave wall. The impact shakes the cave and stuns Sangdrax. The good dragon takes the opportunity to place Zifnab out of harm's way, but Sangdrax springs up and pounces while the other dragon's back is turned. His back claws rip through this thin membrane covering the good dragon's wings. When the good dragon finally forces Sangdrax away, he is left with strips of loose flesh hanging from the bones that once supported his glorious wings. Alright, I'm pulling on my own cable here. He retreats from Sangdrax, dragging his wings and leaving a trail of blood behind him. Sangdrax laughs and positions himself for the death blow. Good lord. It's a very epic game. Sangdrax leaps, but Zifnab's dragon dives beneath the attack, less wounded than he appeared to be. He sinks his teeth into Sangdrax's exposed underbelly and tears a sizable chunk of flesh from his chest. Sangdrax screams and races away from the fight, towards the back of the cave. He sinks into the darkness until all you see are the two red glowing eyes.
You haven't beaten me. When I've led Tsar to the vortex, you reform the world and this place will be no more. I don't think you'll survive. But if somehow you do, we'll meet again, and then I'll have my revenge.
The red eyes wink out, and Sangdrax is gone. Oh, but poor good dragon is Can we talk to you? The dragon's beauty is marred by horrible red wounds along his back. His eyes are half-lidded, not in sleep this time, but in pain. We have Zifnab here, and Zifnab's a friend.
And I was just getting into the shower. You call it the most inopportune times, Haplo.
Zifnab looks around the cave.
Getting into trouble, my boy, and this is a doozy.
I love Zifnab.
Face to face with the embodiment of evil. You've had a full day. And look what happened to my dragon. I'm afraid this is going to have to come out of your security deposit.
So again, if anybody is familiar with any kind of D&D lore, Zifnab, if you take the syllables and you flip them, it's Fizban, or something akin to or similar to Mordenkainen in D&D lore, the Mad Wizard. So it's that stereotype that they're borrowing from. Mordenkainen, Fizban, it's Zifnab. No, the dragon, no. I know, it's a sweet dragon.
Summon you here?
Zifnab's okay, though.
What did you expect it to do? Wasn't that enough? I think that I did a mite better than you would have in this fight.
The dragon looks at him sideways.
Nonetheless, we saved your bacon, and I think we deserve a little gratitude.
That's true.
My thanks, Zifnab. I appreciate your help.
Of course you do. It's always nice to have the side of good rescue you from certain death. Every time it happens to me, I get goosebumps. There's nothing better, I tell you. Except maybe a really good pastrami sandwich with extra mayo.
What do we do now?
Well, that's simple. We go after him. We have to stop him before he leads Tsar to the center of the vortex. They have all of the seal pieces which you were so kind as to supply, so nothing stands in the way of the reformation. Whenever you're ready, I'll take us through the portal to the vortex.
Ooh,
All right, I'm ready to go.
I may have soft-locked myself. I may have to do this from memory instead.
Us all through.
I think I made a mistake.
My dragon is wounded, Mr. Insensitive. Why don't you get rid of some of that heavy junk that you've been toting around? It'll make the trip that much easier for him.
I think I made a mistake. We're going to see if I made a mistake or not. Before you get very far, Zifnap stops you. With a shrug, you go through your belongings. With a shrug, you go through your belongings and toss aside everything that appears useless. After you're done, Zifnap doesn't say anything about it, so you guess that you've offloaded enough. You and Zifnap mount the wounded dragon. Zifnap traces a complex spell which grows to a glowing hoop in space, large enough even to accommodate the dragon. Painfully, the dragon steps through, and, a thunderclap later, you arrive at the edge of the vortex. Okay, hold on. I did, okay, thank goodness. I did grab the book. Because I need, not just right now. Here a little late, things seem to be going well with the dragon, as well as could be, I suppose. Welcome in, by the way, Maki Sprites. Doesn't matter what time you come, it's always just a pleasure to see you and say hi. Okay, so what we're looking for is this. We want to see this big series of spells so that we know the pattern, basically. And I think it can be any one of these pieces missing, so I believe what happens is we have to know, they'll randomly generate one of the missing pieces, and we have to remember which of those pieces it is and where it goes. Good, okay. Kudrag got his wing shredded. He did. Look, he's very sad. He looks kind of like something on Donkey Kong Country, though. Oh, he's looking a little bit... They've palette swapped him. He looks a little bit more ghostly.
An impressive sight, don't you think? Hasn't changed a whit since the old days. Actually, after the initial shock of being in another reality wears off, it's kind of boring. There's that horizon that goes on forever and the sinkhole, that's pretty much it. No continents, no convenience stores, nothing.
I wonder how interesting it would be to fall infinitely.
You were here before? Does that mean you were on the original council?
I never said that. I think Sama sent me a picture postcard that said, my esteemed leader went to the vortex and all I got was this lousy postcard. The picture was really nice, though. It really did this place justice. It must have had, 256 colors.
Where are Czar and Sang...
I love how Sama is the esteemed leader, and yet Zifnab is clearly the most powerful that we've seen of their species so far.
For the Reformation. It shouldn't be long until they start the process.
So we don't want the Reformation, we want the interconnection.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's follow them.
It's not that simple. They had all of the seal pieces, so they were able to use the magic platform. That's how the council members transported themselves over in the first place. The world seal, or in this case all of the pieces, are set up...
One more than achievable with 90s tech.
Anyone standing there over to the island. Since we don't have the seal pieces, we can't...
Was 256? Was it not 256 in the 90s? Am I wrong? I could be wrong on that. I thought the 90s had 256. I thought that was what we used to do. Maybe I'm wrong. But I think 256 is just 8-bit, isn't it? I mean, this is... Well, I don't know. I don't know. I've been playing a lot of, like, Crimson Diamond, and they do a lot of dithering, so it just fools the eye any which way.
Why can't your dragon just fly us there?
Look at him! His wings were shredded in the fight with Sangrax. He wouldn't even be able to lift off. No, my dragon isn't a way to the island.
No, that's fair.
I'd better get to work. Time is running out.
That's true. You'd better get going. I wish I had some...
IIRC, it was 256. With one being empty for other considerations. Perhaps I'm misremembering since number I start with 0. Oh, fair enough. I mean, you might be... Yeah, yeah, you could be right. That might be. It might be 255 with one empty channel. Fair enough. Okay, so let's follow the path. The paths are chunks of rocks that are suspended over the vortex. Some float close enough to permit jumping between them. There doesn't appear to be much logic to their placement. Okay. Oh, it's me. You are, yeah. You are on one of the magic paths. A stone arch looms ahead. Beyond it stands someone who looks exactly like you. Let's go forward. As you try to pass through the arch, your double does the same thing, and you end up bumping into each other, and no one gets anywhere. Hmm. Identify, know what it is. Heat, don't need. Cold won't work. Rune transfers unnecessary. Create reality pocket doesn't work. Create shout of darkness needs something black. Swap. Maybe swap? Okay, hold on. Can I use swap to touch him, switch places with him, and then walk the other direction? You trace the rune structure into the air. As soon as you complete it, the spell races towards your double, but stops and dissolves as it passes through the arch. Something about the arch keeps the magic from reaching him. You cannot directly cast a spell on your double. Your double traces the same spell in the air, but reversed, like a mirror. The spell he tries to cast isn't real, so it doesn't work. Reversed. So the arch, I need him to cast a spell on himself. That would affect him, because his magic can't affect me. But I need to cast it backwards. Bingo. Self-immolation. If I cast it on myself... Check this out. If I cast it on myself, I'm in trouble because it hurts me. But if I take... Hold on. I want to jot in my notepad just to make sure I don't forget. Or don't do this. I may do this wrong, but this seems clever. And I don't know that I am that clever. I need... Okay, here's my thought. If I cast this, it's going to kill me right now. But if I reset, I just have to remember the order. So it's always the bottom rune, and then it goes in a counterclockwise way. So the bottom rune is this one. And then I need this one. And then I would need this one. And then I would need the V shape with the dash through it. This one. It's the right spell, but it's done backwards. If I cast it, it should do nothing. But if he casts it right way around, it should kill him. I may not have done it. You cast the nonsense spell into the air. Of course, this spell does nothing. Ah, but your double casts the spell's mirror image. This does happen to be a real spell. In fact, the spell that he casts is self-immolation. It dives into his body and burns it into ashes. His clothes and possessions fall to the ground. That's what I was thinking. That's pretty devious. I like that puzzle. That's cool. Let me put my book back now. Okay, hold on here. Wait a minute. Had a pretty... Let's see. Pretty chill day with lots of driving around and such. 90% setting things up for later. For other people. Nice. Watch out, because here he comes. Been a week, but he's back as talk. Vinny's gonna have to sing my own little theme song. How nice will that be? Guaranteed to brighten your day. When you feel like a laugh, give him a call. He'll give you his all. I like it. Can sing along. I like it. Stronger than ever before the Retro Room. Retro borrow hash 20 quid. Nice. You meet the strangest people on the net. Oh, hi, Retro and chat. Oh, hi, Mark. I absolutely love that self-immo puzzle. 10 out of 10. Also hype. That's a good puzzle. I like puzzle games, and this has been a brain tickler. I've really enjoyed it. And all you had to do to figure it out, just think about this. All I had to, it's a natural thing to want to go into the spells, because I can't think of anything else. Everything I do will bump. If I stab him or if I hurt him, he's going to do the same thing to me. So if I stab him through the heart, he's just going to stab me through the heart, and then I'm going to die. So it was like, how could I do... So then the first thing I'm thinking is spells. First thing I thought is maybe I could cast Swap. We shake hands, and then I'm on that side, he's on this side, and then we just walk opposite directions now. And but then it told me about the mirror thing, and I'm like, that's got to be something. And so you have this big list, and you just kind of go through the list. You're like, okay, what of these can I cast that would be something? I mean, I guess I could have cast Hunger backwards, but it wouldn't have done anything because Hunger doesn't go... Is it on the self? This is the only one that says self. I don't know. I think that's pretty neat. Let me rifle through his remains real quick. You search through your double's remains and discover duplicates of everything that you carry. Wonderful. That's really... I mean, I don't need a lot of it, but... Ooh, wait a minute. What is this? That's a cloth. I don't need that. I have two of these. None of these can be. Ooh, this is handy. Check this out. You knock out the connecting bolt from one of the blades and slap them both together. The result is a complete set of garden shears. Now I actually have... Look at that! I actually have a set... I was looking at this going, what does 2 of everything do for me? It's a lot of books, but then... I mean, it's heavy. But then... I had 2 shears. I had 2 single shears, so it's like, wow. You're streaming on Sunday. What's up, Retro? I wanted to spend tomorrow with my wife. It's our week. It's the week of our anniversary. Last week was our anniversary, and we wanted to spend time together, so I thought we would just go ahead and do our streams now. Or she did think that, and I thought it was a good idea. The grayish-green, slimy tentacles snake out from somewhere below the path. They twitch and reach out for you. Ooh, can I cut these? You take a swipe at one of the swaying tentacles, but miss it completely. No, I don't want to swipe. I want to... No. Okay. A tentacle whips out from the path, wraps around your leg, and tugs at it. You feel you might be able to pull away, but if you move forward, you'll enter a whole nest of them. With a quick snip, you cut the tentacle away, but another whips and out to wrap around you. Oh, I see the close ones now. With a quick snip, you cut the tentacle away. The ichor-covered stump draws back, or ichor, sorry. The ichor-covered stump draws back under the path along the remainder of the tentacles, with the remainder of the tentacles. The creature has evidently had enough. Okay. Oh, it's me, and I'm going to guess that's Zar. The floating island is suspended over the center of a vortex. A circular platform in the center has 4 spires along its perimeter. Let me go ahead and save. I can't save. You come upon Lord Zar standing in the center of the island. He holds up all of the seal pieces in his hand and is closely examining the focus. Off to one side you see Sangdrax, in your form, watching patiently. On your arrival, Zar's head snaps up and regards you in shock and surprise.
What are you? Some kind of phantasm born of the vortex? I can feel the wild magic around us. Are you part of that?
And yeah, thank you. We enjoyed so much each other's company so much, we stayed with each other. So it's really nice, and I very much appreciate it.
I am no phantasm. I am the true
Oh, I accidentally hit the space bar. You respond, I am no phantasm, I am the true Haplo. Your companion is a dragon who has taken my form to trick you into destroying the world. He has tried his best to keep me from following you here, but here I am. You must stop what you are doing, my lord. The Reformation will not be what you expect. Many will die, including our own race.
My lord, it's obvious that this is some trick, some manifestation of the Vortex's wild magic. Why it spouts lies to stop you from claiming your rightful heritage, I don't know. But don't spare it a thought. Continue with the ritual, and I will deal with my double.
Singdrax's eyes flash red as he turns to you with a grin that shows razor-sharp teeth. The scar left by Zifnab's dragon on his face only makes him more menacing. Scar on his face. Didn't he get ripped up beyond the face? He got ripped up on his underbelly too, remember? I think I know something. Remember at the very beginning in episode 1, Zar said he found me barely alive because my heart rune had been broken. If my heart rune were broken, I would fall ill. He used his own life force to fix me. I'm thinking, if the underbelly of the dragon was clawed, maybe his heart rune is broken, and the fact that he hasn't fallen ill will tell Zar that he's the fake. Let's see.
What you say makes sense, my son, but something about this doesn't ring true. Can you prove your words? Are you the real Haplo? Or is this, as my companion claims, just a hollow trick?
Zar looks at Sangdrax, then over to you.
It's no trick. I can prove I'm Haplo. Remember our conversation about heart runes? They name us.
Oh yeah, he is going to say that.
They are the center of our beings. If they are torn or broken, we fall ill. We cannot function. I show you mine, unbroken. I challenge my double to do the same.
I don't know what that noise was, but okay.
Of course I can show you my heart rune, and why not? After I've done so, I'll eliminate this annoyance so that you can complete the reformation undisturbed, Lord Zar. I live only to serve you.
I don't know why it's giving me those noise, those at the end, but my apologies. With the promise of death in his eyes, he opens his shirt. Only when he has done so does he realize his mistake. The wound taken from Zifnab's dragon slashes across his chest, straight through his heart rune. Not only is the rune broken, but much of it is missing. the noise was Retro ripping his shirt to get more views for the stream. No. A quarter of the way to being a quarter of the way to being the dragon premise in Tomb Raider 2. Yeah. Icor. I've always heard it Icor. Let me look that up. Apparently, yeah, it's a dialectical. Yeah, I have a tendency. I think the sound effects of the shirt ripping. I don't think anybody wants me to rip my shirt open. I'm fairly certain of that. Okay, that doesn't look like me.
So much for subterfuge. I prefer to be direct anyway. My lord, you will complete the reformation. If you do not, I will kill you. It's your choice.
Sangdrax screams in fury, and Zar motions for you to join him inside the circle. No sooner have you positioned yourself alongside your lord than Sangdrax hisses at the both of you, his eyes glowing blood red. We don't talk about OF here. Well, not even for OF purposes, just in general.
Very well, Dragon. I will continue the reformation, but only because it suits my purposes as well.
Zar stares at Sangdrax as if seeing him for the first time. He stands for a long moment and considers, then finally speaks.
Excellent. Get on with it then.
Zar takes a moment to ponder his options, then carries the fire seal piece to its spire counterpart. Quickly, he slides the piece into the monolith's face. That very second, the entire island outside of the protective circle where you stand erupts in flame. A storm of fire swirls and batters the ground. Sangdrax, caught in the sudden maelstrom, screams in agony. You quickly lose sight of him behind the curtain of flame. Let's go ahead and
Take care of our friend, eh? Tell me what's happening here, Haplo. Quickly, if you don't mind.
Zar looks at you with a twinkle in his eye.
It seems that I have been misinformed. The Reformation is not what I wished it to be. I must change my plans.
You explain everything to your lord, skipping nothing, but telling your story as swiftly as possible. Zar's not a bad guy.
We will bring about the interconnection. The worlds cannot survive without it, but the Sartan's strength is severely depleted. It is as nothing compared to ours. After we have connected the realms, we shall invade them, wipe them clean of the Sartan influence, and take our rightful place as rulers.
Okay, you win some, you lose some.
Attend me, my son. I've placed the focus over the starting rune of the Reformation. While you gather the remaining seal pieces, I have to move it back to the interconnection starting rune. I'm lucky that my research indicated which rune this was. Otherwise, I might not know how to bring it about.
Czar squats over the focus, scans the surface of the floor, and prepares to move the floating frame to another room. Dies by fire, very poetic. Yeah. Dragonfire. Oh, no, he's still there. Suddenly, Singdrax's head bursts from the curtain of flame. He's reverted to his original form, that of a fire-breathing dragon, a form completely impervious to the effects of the storm swirling around him. He looses a tongue of fire at Czar's chest. The blast leaves nothing but the blackened hole, and Czar slumps to the ground, dead.
Now it's your turn, patron. Unless you decide to be more cooperative than your master.
Okay, let me save, and I am going to save... just in case. Czar did. Air... water?
Do it now, patron. I command.
Hold on. I made a mistake. Air... water. Singdrax watches as you approach the spire. Familiar now with the end result, he decides to stop you. Hold on. Okay, maybe I did it. You leap forward and press the seal piece into the indentation. It crackles and affixes itself to the spire. The firestorm surrounding the protective circle is replaced by a deluge of water. The dragon chokes back his attack with a comic gurgle and disappears behind sheets of rain. Okay. Somewhere in the driving rain, you can hear the pop and sizzle of Singdrax's fire being doused. But you also hear a squishing, sloshing sound that usually accompanies one of his shape changes. Ooh. Stone? Singdrax, in the form of a giant, gelatinous worm, crawls effortlessly through the sheets of water. Despite its slow speed, it will be on you in moments. You press the seal piece into the earth spire. It crackles and affixes itself inside the indentation. The water stops falling, changes into rocks and boulders. They smash into the worm and stop it in its tracks. Soon you lose sight of it behind a curtain of falling earth and rocks. Okay. The rocks and boulders fall straight through Singdrax's vaporous form. Slowly, ominously, he floats towards you, so he's a vapor now. You set the seal piece inside of the air spire's indentation. It crackles and affixes itself there. The rocks stop falling, but the gale winds rage around the protective circle. It feels as if you are standing in the eye of a tornado. The ghost dragon is caught in the wind. The wind scatters his smoky form until it vanishes. Okay, let's drop the Nexus piece into the focus. You slam the Nexus seal piece into the focus. A column of red fire pours down through the frame and onto a rune below. The fire spread throughout the platform and ignites a spell. Unfortunately, it's the spell of the Reformation.
You came around, my pets.
I didn't move the piece first, so I'm going to have to undo it. Singdrax laughs as the ground rocks under you.
Here in the vortex.
Singdrax flies away, leaving you stranded here to contemplate your fate, and that of the world, not only with only the corpse of Czar for company. This has not been a good day. Yeah, let me undo that. I need to move the focus. Hold on. Okay. I need to read the history book really quickly. I didn't realize that there would be a... Alright. Thanks for a good donut? I guess so. Okay, I need the spell of the interconnection. The island. The spells. Starting rune. Sama. Dimitri. It should definitely spell it out a little more clearly. Is it Sama's rune that I need it to move towards? Somewhere deep in the winds, you see a shadow rising from the ground, growing larger and larger. You recognize the silhouette even from here. It's Singdrax's original form, that of the fire-breathing dragon, and you are left without any elemental storms to hurl against him. No, it's the wrong spell. You slam the nexus piece of focus. It's the wrong spell. So, what is the right... I need time to read the actual spell. It doesn't show the interconnection spell. I don't think. Quick research mode about ICP. Are pretty similar to Socrates, I suppose. I don't know. I don't know anything about Insane Clown Posse. From what little I've seen of them, I would argue that they're more similar to, oh, what was his name? Diogenes, I think? I'm not really sure about how ICP are similar to Socrates, however, they do look interestingly unique. Okay, so I can just undo. Move, focus. What about if I put it over... I may have to load... That's okay, though. Okay. Water. How would I... Does it show anything? I'm looking at the spire. I don't know what book I have. Stone. Air. Let me save here. I'll go ahead and do the... I'll overdo this one. And then let me try... Because it look... Maybe if I do the opposite of the one that I was doing, the opposite of the interconnection. And then drop the seal piece here. Nope, doesn't look like it. You slam the Nexus seal piece into the focus, a column of red fire pours down onto the ruin-paved ground. Fire almost immediately washes away. Apparently it was not a valid starting one for a spell. Undo. I need to know what... Hold on. Wait a minute. I have air going. One of these guys has air. Is that what it is? I'm curious. Sama is the starting rune. Maybe? Water, so it's not that one because we're in wind, right? See, that's where it is. And it looks like it says wind right here, but I don't think that's right. Maybe that little guy right there? The little triangle, maybe? Nope, it's not the right spell. I see the word interconnection on Tyler's page. Not sure that's him. Okay, maybe you're right. Maybe that's the. Maybe Tyler is hold. Undo. That way I have one more step, one more action, because I didn't mean to close the book. You might be right. I didn't see interconnections, so let me see. Because Tyler was. Hold on. Sama, Dimitri, closest advisor, something about the Sundering, Lornoy, Tyler. See, that's the one I did. That's the one that I had done, was Tyler's. Lorne Orsef. Maybe it's Orsef's. It was. Okay. It was his. I mean, I had a 1 in 6 chance. I could have just... Oh, he doesn't look nearly as threatening in this form. I don't either, though. Let's be fair. I don't look very threatening at all.
One more, dragon.
Now, why he can't fly, I don't know. He still has wings, and his eyes are still open, so he wasn't knocked unconscious or anything. When you drop the
Nexus field piece into the focus and ignite the interconnection spell, magic flows through the runes of the island and connects the elemental spires. Sang Drax, unwisely attempting to break through the magic field in order to stop you, confronts the brunt of its power. It proves to be too much, even for the incarnation of evil, and the explosion hurls him into the swirling vortex, hopefully never to be.
I believe I can fly. That means the good dragon has to die, though, too.
You've connected the 5 realms. Perhaps now the worlds can function as planned.
Probably from its wounds.
Can not only survive, but flourish.
Because remember, evil cannot exist without the good counterpart.
Namely, the release of your people.
He forgot his happy thought. He did.
With time and the aid of the
Tyler Durden.
you may be able to see this dream fulfilled. But that must wait for another.
I just broke the first and second rules. Oh, wait, it's a spellbook.
You've completed Deathgate. You've saved the realms from a fate worse than death. And while doing all of this, you scored 1,500 out of 1,500 points.
We got a perfect go through. I don't even know how you can miss things in here, though. Well, check that out. How cool is all of that? We have passed another game. Do a speed run? I don't know that I could, but this was cool. This was really fun to do. I got an A+ on the test. Yay! I'm performing like I used to in academics. It was fun. What pieces could I have missed? I'm trying to think of what things. I wonder what the lowest possible point. Yeah, I don't know. That's what I was wondering. Let me. Do I have something I can look it up? My phone's over there. I might look it up when I'm in the. I might look it up on the computer when I'm in the talk screen. Low points challenge, and see what the lowest possible point accrual is. But look at all of the. You did get an A+, but missed quite a few of our chats. Did I? Well, I'll have to give it a second. I saw a lot of Peter Pan references, a reference to the graphics. Maybe I missed some. I'll take a peek and see what I missed. I was trying to figure out how to do the right spell, and I didn't figure it out super well, but I don't know how to solve that puzzle apart from just to go through it. Anne Marie Cox, I know her son. Small world. Is it the same person, or is it... If it's the same person, that's pretty cool. There's Haplo. That's us. David DuBois. Henry Strozier. What a cool voice, by the way, that Henry Strozier has as Lord Tsar. I like his voice. See if there are any big voice actors that we know today. None that I can recognize, really. Sometimes it's fun to see Bob Supan played Zifnab, to see if there are any voice actors that are still here. The game that followed this one, I think it was the same company, was a game again called Shannara, and it's again based off of books by the same name or similar name, but it is oh, it's just going to take me back to my home screen, which is a 007 First Light game home screen because that's coming out in a couple of weeks, and I'm very excited about it. It's IOI Interactive. We move back to my little screen then here. How cool is that? All right, let's see. What are the lowest amount of points? Let's go ahead and I'm going to switch the audio over real quick so that we can put some neat, nice music on. That one. We can put some music on. Give me 1 second. There we go. There we go. Let's see if it'll do something like that. Hey, it's Retro's computer. It is. It gives everybody 1,500 points regardless of what you did. Really? Come on. That's that's not fair. Let me see. See if there's any way. Now I'm gonna pull the challenge to see if I can get a low get it to to do anything else. Yeah, you're right. Well, then what's the point of the what's the point of the points? Like in King's Quest, that was one of the things that was really cool. In King's Quest 6, for example, you can do it. You can pass it like 4 different ways, and if you pass it the more complicated way, where you go to the land of the dead and you rescue the princess's parents from the land of the dead, and you get the full points. But then if you just decide that you want to get Beauty's clothes from Beauty and the Beast, you can literally just change into those in the front of the castle and then sneak in past the guards there, and you're already in the end sequence, and you don't get like half of the points. So I don't know. Goodness, that's funny. All right, let me see what I did miss on the comments. Let's see. There's almost more dialogue than a Metal Gear Solid game. Well, I wouldn't say that. Metal Gear Solid 4, is it Metal Gear Solid 4 that's got like an hour-and-a-half long cutscene at the end? There is a lot of dialogue in old games, though, because they didn't have... So this is one of the things I love about old games. They didn't have the graphics to show you everything. You had to read it, but you had to read it, and I think that's also a very good thing. F in chat for Czar. Earth, Wind, Fire, Net. That's a Scooby-Doo reference, I think. It's been a long time since I think I heard that song. Jennifer Hale sang that song, I think, honestly. Yeah, I think Jennifer Hale sang that song. It's interesting. Yeah, it makes a good donut. Think about it, I guess. I don't think I missed very much. It doesn't look like I did. Didn't expect to be looking up what Inside Clang Posse was today. I do know what they are, but I don't have a great opinion on anything about them. I don't know much about them, save for kind of what they look like. And that they do music. You can make a parallel for being ostracized from a democratic society. You could. But I would argue that they were for 2 different reasons. I was saying, I think I would liken what I know, what very, very little I know of Insane Clown Posse. I would argue I would put more. I think I would more liken them to like Diogenes, being outcast because of the outlandishness. How dare you, Socrates, do this philosophy thing as long as you call it? It's corrupting the youth. Actual charge by the Athenian court. Yeah. Yeah. Philosophy book is spelled. Yeah. See the word interconnection on Tyler's page. We try that. Tyler Durden. I like the word Durden, by the way. I think it's a fun word. I know it's not. It's just the name of the character, but yeah. It feels like the result of parents not agreeing on whether to do Tyler or Taylor. Yeah. The spelling is the same, but the pronunciation is the same as the first. Let's see. I really dig this music, by the way. Yeah, it's nice music. It's I don't remember where I got this, but it's I have about 100 songs of it. I have Stream Beats, the Harris Heller stuff, but this is different. I cannot remember where I got it from. I think I bought a big... So I've bought a lot of royalty-free music to be able to use. A lot of... There's obviously free royalty-free music, but I think I've purchased quite a bit of it too that I can use, and I think this might be one of those, but I could be wrong. Could be wrong. I cannot remember. Let me take a peek and see. I just want to see if there is one of those. Yeah. Humble Bundle does a lot of stuff like that. I was looking to see if there was any other. Yeah, there's a. This is pretty cool. There are actually two. There is a mega music bundle royalty free where you can buy 59 items of music for $20. And I think this might be the result of that. Something like that, at least. Honestly, I might buy that bundle myself. That's pretty neat. Andy Bowser. I know Bowser is the name of the guy. I know this is probably from the credits, but I was going to say, I know Bowser is Doug Bowser, I think, is the president of Nintendo. It's a guy with the surname Cox whose mother is named Anna Marie, whose family has a long STEM pedigree. That could be. But wasn't it the voice actors we were looking at when you said? I don't know, maybe. Hello. Wizard, we were looking at Retro's desktop. What business do you have here with that book? You cannot read. What happened to that book you cannot read? I had the 007 stuff. I'm really excited about that game coming out. I probably won't play it on stream. It's going to be something I just want to enjoy on my leisure, but I'm very excited. I've been a big fan of James Bond games since James Bond games started to exist, so I am very excited about IOI taking over. You can theoretically get 0 points, but in the last sequence with the dragon, it turns your points from whatever they were to 1,500 upon getting the ending. Oh, well, yeah, I guess technically, I mean, if you win, but I don't know why you would need game cheats on my behalf, yeah? Well, I have to skip the Star Trek intro on my stream in future because it plays a very faithful rendition of the theme. The game does. Oh, yeah. Even the Star Trek... excuse me. Even the Star Trek game for the Super Nintendo, the Star Trek Next Generation game for Nintendo, has a really good rendition of the original theme in 16-bit. It's quite good. I don't care though. I don't monetize or anything, so I don't particularly care. I don't assume that the ghost of Gene Roddenberry is going to come and sue me for playing a game that hasn't existed in the zeitgeist for 30 years. The game does. I mean, oh, okay, very cool. Which one? I unfortunately have not caught your streams. Your Donkey Kong Country speedrunning buddy says hello. Oh. Which one? Now I can't think of which one. It's on Retro's Discord, but I'm doing that next weekend. That's true, yeah. For it. Ewoks, I have heard legendary tale of you. Tell of you. Oh, Andy Bowser was one of the voice talents in the credits. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, but when I hear Andy Bowser, I thought Doug Bowser. I meant which Star Trek theme. They're very similar, or they're very different from one another, sorry. Very opposite of what you actually wrote. Star Trek Next Generation's theme, which is, in my opinion, the best theme. That one feels like it takes... That nice, quiet space... Just light music, and then the ramping up into da 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 da. It's great. That's such a good theme. I do like the Next Generation theme, but yeah, the visuals, Picard's speech, and the credits take about 1.5 minutes. I think that's okay though. That's the whole point. Like, I like it. Oh, no. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Hi. Hi back. Hello back, Donkey Kong speedrunning buddy. I said that as I would one of my dogs. Sorry about that. Yeah. No, I like the speech. I don't know. There's something about it I really like. What is it? Let's see if I can. It's because what does he say? Man, we may have taken on the Empire once, the stickiest wicket. I'm sorry, that would be a Britishism that also is applicable in Star Wars, I guess. But anyway, it's that really, I don't know, I think there's something so enchanting about Star Trek The Next Generation's theme, I think. That intro from Sir Patrick Stewart, that his voice is so, I couldn't say the dialogue and give it any kind of justice, but it's just so nice. Banana Donkey. If you've not played, for anybody who has a Switch too, if you've not played Donkey Kong Country Bonanza, obviously not having a Switch 2, that's probably appropriate, but if you have a Switch 2, I highly recommend picking that game up. It is a lot of fun. And there's a visiting of it. It was a long time ago. It was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Just kind of have to lose syllables in that. Hold on. Let me fix my window here. What did I do? Somehow I've made a mess of things, have I? I fixed them. Okay. Oh no, I gotta get into an inconsequential fight with Retro over Star Trek. Come on, TOS's theme is much more... wait a minute. Theme is much more suited to a show centered around unorthodox plots and unusual... the original series. It is, but I don't know. It's very much a product of its time, as are all of the Star Treks. But there's something about that just weird kind of... like, I don't know. I've always thought that the original series' theme felt more... Obviously, when I hear it, I liken it to Star Trek now, and have for a while. But when I first heard that theme years ago, to me, it always felt like it would be just as at home on a parody sitcom about people living off of on a house that's beachfront property. I don't know. There's just something about that. Meanwhile, you get that beautiful... It tells you at the very beginning, that space, the final frontier. These are the voyages. You know exactly what you're getting into with that one. Whereas with the other one, it's just, you get there, you get that, and then it goes into this... It doesn't sound like... I would say that this kind of brassy orchestral is more... Like, you feel more official. You're jumping into a military ship. With the original, it was just, I don't know. I love the original series. I have the original series. I have the complete collection. But I think, me personally, and I am not saying anybody who disagrees with me is wrong, but I think that Star Trek is great, and I think personally, The Next Generation is the apex of it for me. Later seasons are not as good. I fully admit that, but I think that's true of pretty well almost all. Well, I would say almost all of the Star Treks. Could be wrong though. In a galaxy far, far away. How many Ewoks does it take to change a light bulb? How many? Well, okay, Alanima, not Chewbacca. And then we get Yub Nub. It would be really cool to put that whole song just boop. I love Yub Nub. For anybody who hasn't seen the original, I would say this, the original. I mean, when did they change it? 99. So I guess pre-1999. edition, the victory song, which I do think is better. I think we were talking about this. I think we were talking about this earlier this week, but I think that the Yub Nub version was fun. More fun, in fact. But I do think that the new victory theme is a better overall theme. I am fluent in 6 million forms of communication. Like C-3PO is. And I don't even know what that said. Yub Nub is, as far as I know, it could be more, but it was the original song played as the victory theme for the Ewoks at the end of episode 6. Any of y'all heard, I don't even know how to say, Neil, whatever that last name is, mashup of the Ewok rap with Limp Bizkit? It's unironically kind of a bop. No, I've never heard anything even remotely similar to that, but I'll take a look at it. That's a bop of, I don't know what that name is, so I'm not going to attempt it. I've not listened to, must remedy that. I agree with the assessment of TNG being some of the best the series has to offer, by the way. I just like the first theme better. Out of curiosity, what are people's thoughts on Deep Space Nine? Personally, it's my fave. I haven't spent a lot of time with Deep Space Nine. I spent the ones I've spent the most amount of time with, if I'm to be honest with you, are the original series, the Next Generation, and Voyager. And that's pretty well the majority of it. I have heard the new one, or the newer one. What is it called? I think it follows Pike. Am I wrong? Maybe? I think it follows Pike before he was supposedly disfigured. I've heard that one is really good. I've not seen any of it. But, yeah, I've heard it's really good. I don't know what that one's called. But yeah, there's one I think it follows Pike before he ended up in the accident that cost him his pretty well everything. The Next Generation era is all good. Deep Space Nine is my favorite, next to the Next Generation and Voyager. So are you saying Deep Space Nine is your favorite, and then the Next Generation, and then Voyager? That's high praise. I mean, everybody's saying Deep Space Nine is so good. I would be Ciceriga. I'm okay. Ciceriga. Probably not great, but that's, it's the most common pronunciation I've heard. He did Ultimate Showdown of Ultimate Destiny. Oh, okay. I know the mimetic song about Chuck Norris and some other guys, I think, that came out like 20 years ago. Or 15 years ago, maybe it was. I don't know, it may not even been that long ago. Super Nintendo Donkey Kong Country Game Grumps Bud in the house. Triforce Wolf 93. Welcome in, Triforce Wolf 93. Welcome. SNES Donkey Kong Game Grumps Bud in the house.
I want to buy my brother a PlayStation, but I don't have the money. I want to play Call of Duty Shoot 'em Man.
I do like all of that though, and they did a Donkey Kong Country playthrough. I think that I may have mentioned this. Did a Donkey Kong Country playthrough recently, which I thought was great. I really want to watch. I love Donkey Kong Country 3. I really, really, really want to watch them go through that again. They played it up until Mechanos, I think. And then they just gave up. And it was like there was I think they went up to Mechanos and then they just quit. And I'd really love to see them give it a try again, because I think that they've played Donkey Kong Country 1 all the way through twice, JonTron and Danny now. Donkey Kong Country 2 they've played all the way through JonTron. Donkey Kong Country 3, I think it was Aaron, Ross, and Barry. And they stopped at Mechanos. And I'm really disappointed because that is my favorite one. I recognize that 2 is technically a better game, supposedly, but I think 3 is great. But welcome in, Triforce Wolf 93. Neil also did Harry Potter Puppet Pals, didn't he? As well as a song about the Goosebumps. I think somebody showed me the Harry Potter Puppet Pals one time, but that I don't know as much about. Creed on all counts. But yes, okay. All right. So, I mean, I need to give a look then to Deep Space Nine if that's the case. Next Generation is my favorite. I do like Voyager. She would never admit it, I'm sure, but my sister was actually more into Voyager than I was, and I watched it through the proxy. I was a big Next Generation fan, so I wouldn't stigmatize her for enjoying Voyager. We talked about this last week, actually. Her and I. We're talking about this last week, so. And she was a big fan. Which was great. I think that's awesome. If I could sing even a bit better, I'd do Alvin and the Chipmunks, like theme I've written for the Retro Room. I would love you to do that. I can't sing well either, though, so I can't criticize you for choosing not to sing if you don't want to. I have a face for radio and a voice for print. HP Puppet Pals, both his self-titled mashups and his serious projects under the name Lemon Demon. Those are spelled very similarly, despite the fact that they are not. It should be Lemon Demon or Lemon Demon, but it's not. It's Lemon Demon. That's a shame. English has failed me. That is the... Oh my goodness. That was such a disappointment. Not you, copyright, but me reading that and realizing how those were spelled similarly but pronounced differently was English completely going flaccid for me there. Lemon Demon. That name rings more of a bell. Yeah, NC's done a lot. The Aaron impression is legendary. I can do the little, like, funny voices he does, but I can't sound anything like his, like, narrator voice, he has a great voiceover voice. His, he did, I cannot remember where it is. There's a part of him trying to be Worf, Michael Dorn, who has a legendary voice, truly. And he's trying to do it, but he kind of just smooths his voice out a little bit. It's just like, Captain, and it doesn't get anywhere near, even my deepest register can't get anywhere near the depth of Michael Dorn's. But it's just, I can't even imitate Aaron's imitation. There's my point. Okay, but is Retro Grump or is he not so grump? Honestly, it depends on which grump you put me up against. If I'm next to Aaron, I'm not so grump, easy. If I'm next to Dan, I don't know. I think I'm pretty easy to get along with. I think I'm pretty chill, but Danny is kind of next level chill. I really like Danny. From what I don't know him as a person, but as the way that he have a bunch of dogs that are scared of their own shadow. But as far as Danny goes, the way he presents himself, he's just next level chill. I really like that. I think it would be just two not so grumps on the couch if that were the case. I have a very good friend who has that kind of chill that reminds me. May or may not have popped in here, in fact. But reminds me very much of Danny, and in the best possible way. If retro is grump or not so grump, is that a fact or a point of view? I guess that would be a point of view from almost anybody. Reality is perception, and everybody's perception is different, which means everybody's reality is different. There's nothing, the sky isn't blue to a man monochromously colorblind, so I suppose reality is what we perceive. Perhaps he's Ninja Brian? That would be really cool if I were, but that would mean that there'll be a whole stint in my career where all I do is claim to have a PhD. And that may be true, too. Justice for DKC2. I like DKC2 also, but DKC3 is my favorite. It's because I think Kiddy Kong gets a bad rap. He plays really well, and the water bounce technique, once you've gotten it down, it's a really bloody cool technique. I've done a couple... If anybody is interested, just as a side note, I have played the game on this channel 2 or 3 times. I do a how to get through Donkey Kong Country 3. I do a 103% run. I was supposed to be 105, but I had trouble for whatever reason with the harder password not working. But 103% run through where I show everybody kind of how to hit every bonus barrel and do every level and all the hidden levels. And then I think I do 1 or 2 speed runs where I basically just... I think one of them is called steamrolling. And I think I pass it in... Honestly, I was a little slower, but I think I passed it in like 2 hours. So... If anybody is interested in seeing my attempts there, just for fun. Not timed attempts, but just for fun. Say, Retro, you didn't happen to have voted on my doing Star Trek The Next Generation before Hitchhikers, perchance? I probably have. I'll have to go back and look at it, but yeah, most probably, yes. You'll have to take a peek, though. Anti-Justice for DK64. DK64 is fun. It's more fun if you put yourself in the mindset of Banjo-Kazooie, though. So they finally... the song's not my favorite, but it's okay. The first time it was that they took something so frivolous and decided to throw a random, very mild, but still curse word there. Copyright, I banish thee. Probably for the DK64 thing. Honestly, I think the weakest DK... What is the weakest Donkey Kong game? Barrel Blast, probably. Which is still fun, by the way. I'm sorry, Triforce, and also I'm sorry to Retro for English spelling being terrible. That's okay. I didn't see anything. Maybe I've just missed it, but I didn't see any poor spelling. Put your hands together. You can take through the... I must have misread typos who don't care, and I'm not a grammar cop. I didn't see that either. Yes, the Lemon Demon. You see what I'm saying, though? They're spelled the same way. It's Lemon Demon or Lemon Demon. They're spelled the same way, but with the exception of that first letter. But it's not. It's Lemon Demon. Takes Viddy by the shoulder. Oops. Takes Viddy by the shoulder and points towards the YTP called the Decayer app. Ooh. Agreed with Viddy. I see no issues other than your dislike of DK64. Yeah, that's... But you spelled DK64 wrong. No, just teasing. What is the Decayer app based on? I wonder. Oh, do I want to know? Is there Kitty Kong death scream? Kitty Kong... Oh, he doesn't have a death scream. It's just a cry. I thought you were doing a joke. Sorry, it's the Decayer app. Decayer app. Ah. Okay. It's the best DKR YTP I've seen. Seriously, if you like YTP, give it a watch. If you like YTPs, man, you're throwing... I'm sorry, ma'am. You're throwing tons and tons of letters at me. And while I am good at spelling letters, I am not very good at understanding what most of them mean. His coconut gun can fire... You have the whole thing down, Viddy. Good lord. I love Donkey Kong games. I was actually very, very excited. That was the whole reason I got the DK rap was your best chance to sing. Not necessarily. I sang a song today with my wife. Pat, we had sung, what was it? The Time to Say Goodbye by, what was it? Andrea Bocelli? I think that does that. We did that together. It's just, I have to be with... I don't sing well, and so I need to be with people that I... Like Laurie Anderson did. I thought you were going to say like Louis Anderson. I was like, oh no. I just have to be in the right place, I guess. Not mentally per se, but just with the right people. I've not even sung in front of friends. My wife is about the extent. Maybe it's just a family. I won't even sing in front. Well, that's not true either. I won't even sing in front of most of my family. Say, Retro, if you cannot sing, can you rap? Absolutely not. I cannot. Not that I won't, I just can't. I don't have the skill for it. By the way, I'm honored to be number 3. And then the big smiley face. Paretro the Retro. Oh, from Parappa the Rapper. Very nice. It's a pleasure to have you in here. So normally, I mean, just as a side note, for anybody who's curious, a lot of you come in here when I stream most of the time, which is a great honor, by the way. But normally when we pop in, we pop in and we talk about philosophy, we talk about the world, we might talk about something contentious. We've literally talked about, and that's part of the purpose of this place, is it's a place where firstly we can speak our minds and have big differences of opinion on highly contentious topics without needing to scream and raise our voice and yell at each other. It's a place for us to speak about things. We've spoken about everything from the power of hatred as a motivation to the specifics of the belief of the Charlie Kirk incident. So that shows you how I don't know. It shows how dedicated I am to speaking politely but without censorship. And the point's not to get into fights with anybody and tell everybody I'm right or wrong. It's a place to talk about our different philosophies and have understandings and different types of insight and so that's usually we spend the first portion of it doing that, and then after that we spend the rest of the time just playing a game, having fun, hanging out, enjoying something. Hopefully I bring, like I said before, the game that I've just got finished playing, Deathgate, is free. There's a link in my description where you can go and download the game for free on a computer. If it is a computer that runs anything faster than software would run in 1993, it will run the game and you can play it yourself. It's free, it's abandonware, it's completely legal, and just, but that's the idea, is just to come to talk, to be okay, talking and having differences of opinion and talking about contentious topics and philosophizing and being okay to put something silly out there, even for posterity. And then for me, it's to put what I've said out there for posterity and then go back in 10 years. Who knows? I've done this channel for almost 10 years already. And I go back and I look at it and I go, wow, I don't think that way at all on this particular topic anymore. And it's really nice to do that. People like to, but you said back then, yes, but I've also changed my mind. I've grown. I'm okay with that. Kick, chop, punch, it's all in the mind. I don't know if that's the Diddy Kong. One of the few corners left where calm discussions can happen, unfortunately. I think people feel, I could be wrong. I can't say what all people feel, but I do. I feel like you can't have conversations at all anymore. It's not just about the calmness of it, but it's also about topics being considered taboo the minute that other people who are not you and not involved with you have had heavily loaded and dangerous and volatile things to say. Everybody in the world had this conversation about this topical political thing. Therefore, the topic's exhausted. You can't have an opinion because it falls outside of those opinions that have already been stated, and stated better, probably. And I'm like, no, it's a good thing for us to be able to talk with other people that are sharp minds. Right? Abrasion comes no matter whether you are or aren't prepared for it. The best thing that you can do is to attempt to be prepared for it so that it hits you at an angle to make you sharper and not to blunt you. Because regardless of whether you want it, abrasion will come. Angle yourself so that it sharpens you, not so that it blunts you. Reminds me a bit of Star Fox 64. Star Fox has been on the rounds now with the new announcement, which I think is a really cool announcement, by the way. You take that back right now. What was said? What was said that... Are you being facetious against this particular... That's funny. We usually participate in gaslighting before and after streams, which means philosophy. We've never done that, Mikey Sprites. We've never done anything like that. What are you talking about? No, just you sure you don't mean me and not to trifle? Gaslighting means philosophy. It's an interesting translator's note. The idea is for us to philosophize, though, not to gaslight, not to rewrite history. I've seen people online sometimes make a conversation not so civil over the most tiny things or something. One of the things that you have to be willing to do, in my personal opinion, is realize that you have an ego and then kill it. Realize that being correct means not being what you were yesterday, right? It means being willing to change. It means being willing to shed things that are useless, that are weak, or that weaken you. And your ego is almost always going to be that. It's almost always, I would rather be correct than I would, I'm going to put this in a silly way, I would rather be correct than quote-unquote right, which is to say, I would rather be closer to the truth than to have won an argument and potentially dragged the person, my interlocutor, away from a position that was more correct than the position that I was at. Right? Pride is fine to have, but ego is very, very dangerous, and it is a very important piece, I think, that we need to that we need to put to rest. We need to kill it, we need to bury it, we need to honor what it was, and recognize that its death will no longer hold, or that its life will no longer hold us back. And I mean this heavily. If somebody came to me, I will change my mind. If compelling evidence is presented, I will change my mind in the snap of a finger. I don't think you can snap one finger, so we'll say two. But, I think we've talked about this. It's just, I'm okay. I'm okay not being right. I'm okay being corrected, rather. And it's important. Copyright, I will die on any molehill. Just ask about 300 Ewoks. I don't know if we need the consensus. I think you could probably be good after. I think you're probably going to be right after about 50. I ask about 300 Ewoks. That's a lot of. Like at this point, you might as well just take a census, right? 40, 50 Ewoks will be fine, and then we'll understand whether or not you'll die on a molehill. The other 250 can stay in the wings. And it's important and wonderful even to share differing opinions and viewpoints. I agree. Dropping the joke briefly, it's nice to meet you. Triforce Wolf 93. What a pleasant introduction. Wait, I've got a good quote from Arlo about that when he was starting his old review saying he hates Star Fox Zero. Give me a sec. Anyway, defend your argument or else. My argument, you are a poop face. Wow. Everybody is going to look at a game a different way, you know. Every experience is different. I feel one way and you feel another way. Neither of us is wrong, and sharing our feelings is not a way to devalue each other's experience. We're just different, and that's what's beautiful about people, you know. It's what makes the free exchange of ideas and opinions on the internet a truly wonderful thing. The above is what Arlo said before he said, that said, I absolutely hate Star Fox Zero. Star Fox Zero was okay. It wasn't the greatest for sure, but it was fine. But that's a really good way to say it. Differing opinions makes the world go round. The objective, though, should be getting closer to the truth, not getting closer to the win. I mean, yeah, taste is subjective. I like seeing I like seeing a bit of other people's experiences through their views. That's a good point, Maki. Everybody lives a different life. And so, in some instances, it is not less correct to say that what they said, to apply what they've said to the argument. Right? There is probably some form of objective truth, or there is at least a closest truth to that. But I've lived a different life, and therefore my experiences aren't necessarily less valid, but they may not be as applicable to that particular argument. That's a good point. It's lovely to meet you too, Copyright. That's very nice. I like that. It's lovely to meet you all, and to meet you all again and again. Fitty, we have had dealings now for the better part of 5 years, and it's always a pleasure to talk with you. I think at least a part of the problem is that there is a non-negligible number of people who genuinely don't care about civil discussion except as a means to an end. In reaction, a sadly high number decided to give up on discourse entirely. I do also think that the framing of conversation, specifically debate, and I think philosophy and debate have become completely inseparable in a lot of regards, which is a shame. Because that's not necessarily, I don't believe, the way that it has to be presented. But I think the framework has changed, because I believe that debate has become all about winning, in quotes, this Charlie Sheen kind of idea, right? It's about capturing the approval of the audience. It's about giving getting the videos where someone was quote unquote owned. It's no longer about trying to discover a greater truth by compounding the things that you and your argument have that are right against the things that you and your interlocutor's argument have that are right. And so that's the idea. Like if I sat in front of the group of, whomever, with an interlocutor of an opposite position on an ethereal topic, I'm not interested in whether or not they believe that I won the debate. I'm interested in whether or not me and my interlocutor got closer to something more profound and honest and truthful, or closer to an objective truth. I'm okay looking like a fool in front of a group of 1,000 if I learn something that makes me wiser than they by happenstance. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's what I aspire to do, but the most foolish thing I can do is make them happy and myself more stupid at the same time, as a consequence. Also, I totally accidentally turned about 600 Ewoks' name into a joke. My bad. Well, I'm sure they'll forgive you. If it's any kind of I forget how many Ewoks are supposed to be in the username often too. So I've been guilty of accidentally misquoting the number of Ewoks. The joke, I guess there are about 600 Ewoks here. About. Yeah. I mean, isn't the point of the name at least partially its comedic value? I'd argue you enhanced Ewok's name. I'm sure. Also, I've got to say hello to about 600 Ewoks then. Mm-hmm. Hello. This is going to take you a long time. Pure Pizak. Thank you, Atten. Thank you for popping in. It would be really neat if you had just popped in as Atten Rand for a minute, said that, and then popped back out. That would have been very, very cool. Also, I am going to say it. I'm not trying to plug anything. I don't care. Again, I've said this before. I don't care about numbers. I don't care how many subscribers, how many likes. I don't care about any of that. If it's something you're interested in, or you want to be an inside of jokes, some of these jokes, just because it is a reference. I have not done a great amount of it in KOTOR 2. I do intend to, at some point in time, continue that. But I have done a full playthrough of KOTOR 1. Long time ago. It's been a couple of years now. But I did do a full playthrough, and if anybody is curious as to, if not played KOTOR, have not seen it, want to live through the proxy vicariously, through the proxy of my playthrough, I think it's 10 episodes long. And I do believe I know we at least play one or two hands of Pizak. I don't think we spent a ton of time playing Pizak, which is actually something I quite enjoyed doing. But it's, I did play Pizak. If anybody's curious, it's the Star Wars equivalent of Blackjack. My opinion is quite a lot better. Sabak, Pizak, and the Jarek have all been made into actual games, and they're basically Blackjack, poker, and chess. Kind of. I think I've said hello about 600 times, so did I miss anything? Not much. It's always nice to see the regular viewers showing up here among the approximate sea of Ewoks. You know what? That's great, though. It's fantastic. It is also really nice to see them crowd surf to top the heads of many a short little teddy bear. In the interest of my universalist neuroticism, in fairness, how many people, when discussing their hobbies, are expecting to have to be intellectually rigorous? I'm not judging the non-debaters. I don't know, but I don't know if you're asking that question. I don't know if you're asking that question genuinely, or if you're asking that rhetorically, or if you're asking that. I'm not quite sure, but I would say that most people. I would hope that most people who have a deep love of their hobbies would at least have the ability to jump into them in the most. I don't know. I think to be a little bit meticulous with the speech and to introduce these kind of concepts shows the love of the hobbies. But obviously, I think if it's a hobby at the same time, it's not necessary to. I do cards as a hobby. For example, I shuffle cards. I know all of the cheaty moves. I've done it for Oh, I've had a deck of cards in my hand for a very long time, so a couple of decades, and I've learned to get pretty decent at it. I'm decent at it. And if you talk to me about it, it's not an intellectual exercise per se, but I would use a lot of the card mechanic nomenclature, right? I would tell you this is a biddle grip versus this is a Hindu shuffle versus this is a... And it's not my intent to be necessarily intellectually rigorous so much as it is my love of the hobby and my want to do it right by utilizing the appropriate nomenclatures and to some extent demonstrating to other people as maybe kind of an eye wink, somewhat overtly maybe, but for the most part decently covertly to other people that I know a little bit about what I'm talking about. And if somebody came up and corrected me and says, oh, well, wait a minute, I wouldn't use this, a Hindu shuffle with a biddle grip. I think that would be really cool because now that I know that they know what those are, in most cases, then I know I need to listen to them and maybe learn something new here. So I don't know. My burner phone, about 600 Attons. Oh my goodness. I should just have a Kreia profile and we just talk about that philosophy. The philosophy, I've said this multiple times and I stand by it. The philosophy of Kreia. There's a video, I think, on YouTube that Vidi had brought to my attention. I guess it gotten taken down. I think it's back up. But it's about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours long of just her philosophies and how they relate to real-world philosophies, Nietzsche philosophies, and Jungian philosophies, and Schopenhauer philosophies and such. Very, very, very good listen. If you get a chance, I highly recommend. It's free on YouTube. And I highly, highly recommend the listen. I summoned a battalion of Ewoks. This sounds like a 1980s thing where it's almost like He-Man. Hold up by the power of Grayskull, I have the power. I am He-Man is the line. Then you just lightning strikes and 600 teddy bears appear beside you, behind you, and all the other places they need to be. Onward, men, fight! I don't know if I'd feel right calling Ewoks men, even if they're fully grown. Ride now, ride for ruin, and the world is ending. Man, I'm typoing today. I'm not going to... I know what you meant. And I said onward. It's not a big deal. I'm not a pedant. I'm not... Of course, Pity decides to throw, we shall ride onward, ever onward, to fight evil. We've become adorable, I see. Isn't that adorable? So, it is before the Retro Room. The doom of our time will be decided. Yo, Retro is impressive with those cards, for real. Oh, thank you. I've practiced for the better part of 30 years. And I very much enjoy playing cards. As a matter of fact, I just got a new deck today from the Peaky Blinders, and they're blood-spattered and beautiful, forged in smoke and blood, and I love them. And the backs are these golden razor blades. But I do like cards. But my point was not necessarily being intellectually rigorous so much as it is being so excited that I would delve into that hobby, and that would come across as intellectually rigorous, I think, in some ways. To quote Persona 5, for real? Well, I've had a deck of cards in my hand for a long time. Decades. Retro the NPC who has a quest item. The NPC who has go give this deck of cards to Alfred in the tavern. Bring me back the key. If you do, you can have my home in Anvil. I threw like 3 things down, I don't know. By the way, if you play Oblivion, the House and Anvil... I've already played Oblivion all the way through on this channel also. House and Anvil is definitely the move. You've all seen what I do with it, so... If anybody didn't know, I play games all the way through on this channel most of the time. There are games that are a little too deep for me to go all the way through on. I think... I did that to KOTOR 2, but that was because of a technical difficulty before I had to rebuild the computer, which I have now done, of course. And, The Outer Wilds was really fun, but it was so open. I really just wanted to take that one offline and explore it myself. I hope nobody was upset about that one, but it was so big and open that it just felt good. It feels good to just kind of get to play it offline and just explore. And I didn't want it to be 100 episodes of me just dawdling about, you know. Sangdrax looks on in fear as you summon an army of raging Ewoks. Can you imagine Sangdrax? Oh, man. I mean, they'd take him down by cutting 2 logs and smashing him in or something. I don't know. It's a shame the original upload or channel was taken down. I've not seen all of that KOTOR 2 video, but it was good from what I see. I think it's up again, though. I think it's been brought back up. I know several people have uploaded other versions of it, but I believe his version's back up also. I've got a side quest. I'm missing a card from my deck. Can you find it for me? What was the old saying? It was a t-shirt saying. I better not. It's pretty inappropriate and could be misconstrued as something that is a different form of inappropriate than I would feel comfortable with my voice potentially being clipped saying. Not censoring myself because I feel like I can't say it, censoring myself because I feel like it would be unwise for me to say it. I heard you drop the Clock Tower name earlier. Watch the JonTron vid on that guy, because I'm being straight. Yeah. Oh, that's one of my favorite JonTron ones, is the Clock Tower one. The game is great. I've been a huge fan of the game for a while, and then he came out with a video, and that's been, 15 years ago or something like that? It's been a minute. And then they relaunched, I think it's because of him, they launched Clock Tower again. And it's on the modern platforms. It's on the Switch, the PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. And it is it really is genuinely one of my favorite Super Nintendo horror games, because it is genuinely terrifying. You don't have direct control over the girl. So, yes, I have seen that, and I've seen it 1,000 times, and I will see it 1,000 more, because early JonTron stuff is my favorite. Late JonTron stuff is pretty good, too. But the Michael Jackson reference is really good. My favorite one is the in that episode is when he gets I think her name is Mary is the caretaker, but anyway, when he gets the girl in the car and he's like, but the others, and then he just like thinks nope, and then speeds out, the barn blows up, the car speeds out. I came in on Outer Wilds. I'm admittedly sad it ended prematurely, but I understand why it's better to play offline. When you finish it, could you let us know what you thought, though? Of course I will. It's one of those things where it opens up and opens up and opens up and up. Like, time loop games are fun, but most of the time they're much more limited than Outer Wilds is. Like, 12 minutes is a great time loop game, but it's so much more limited than Outer Wilds is. So I could play 12 minutes here, and then we would basically have 10 or 11 episodes where I'm doing the same 12 minutes, but there is a finite amount of, Outer Wilds was just insanely complicated, and it was so much fun to try and tie puzzles together like this. And it was like, I don't want to make this 100 episode series on the channel and not know how much closer in episode 95 I am than I was in episode 5, because I didn't feel like I was making a great amount of progress, but I also didn't feel compelled to make great amounts of progress. But then I knew that was going to bore the people too, so I was like, but I'll absolutely do that. It's a point and click, and it absolutely adds to the feeling of helplessness and unable to quickly react, like mirroring the freeze. Well, and it is a point and click, but also just to get her to move. Like, you don't even have to just do the point and click, right? You can use the shoulder buttons on the Super Nintendo controller, but she doesn't move immediately. She's kind of slow, and she's kind of trying to figure out how do I really go this way? It's just it's such a good game. It's a really good game. I heavily recommend. There's a new game coming out, by the way. I'm really excited about this. There's a new game coming out in the same vein as Clock Tower called The Bagman, and I've seen it, and the imagery is wonderfully disturbing. It is made very much in the 16-bit style, and I think a demo is out. Now, I refuse. Everybody knows, unless I absolutely have to, I refuse actively to buy on Steam. I either want a disc or cartridge. If I cannot get that, I will buy it on GOG. I want to own my games. But when this comes to GOG, I think I will buy it probably instantly. If you are even remotely a fan of Clock Tower, I highly recommend taking a look at The Bagman, I think is what they're calling it. Beautifully disturbing. A bit biased, perhaps, but I was always a big fan of JonTron's Nuts and Bolts review. Oh, me too. I thought it was a lot of fun. And that's where the meme had... Or not the meme. That's where the promise had come that he had sung Firework at the end of that, I think, by an artist that I probably would know the name of if I heard it. And then he ended up having to, I think as a pledge or commitment later on, 6, 7, 8, 9 years on, ended up having to re-sing Firework again. Got a lot of animators to animate it for him, which I think is really cool. Oh yeah, hey, there it is. His cover of Firework is legendary. Tops the original, in my humble opinion. I like his version better too. I like how at the end of it though, he kind of just loses the singing. He's got a great voice though. If you ever watch, I know a lot of people are more the Danny and Aaron era, and I think that's perfectly fine. I do like a lot of the JonTron era. There are a lot of places where they just tried to kind of be as crass as they could get away with, but it felt a little bit more genuine, like they were just playing and doing what they were. There were several, though. I think Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse, they tried to play it through two times, and there's one that they just sing a bunch. He's got a great voice. He really does. They sing a lot of, like, Rent, I think, on there, which is really cool, because Rent has a great soundtrack. That is to say, his Dino City. I can't. His voice is way higher than mine is. There is no way I could parody him. I can do the Aaron voice because it puts my voice into my nose, but I don't have my voice is too low to hit JonTron genuine notes. Case in point, listen to his cover of Firework and hear the high notes he hits. It's the only version of that song I can listen to anymore. Yes. Yeah, again, I think he took a break away from the internet because not only is he married, but I believe he's expecting. I believe they are with child. And I think that is awesome. He's going to be the most unconventional but probably hilarious father ever. So. Okay, I got a text from parents to catch up this afternoon. Bye, Retro and Chat. See you in 42-something space final frontier. Oh, bye. No worries, Mr. Viddy. We will see you next week, I hope. Always a pleasure to get to talk with you. It's always a pleasure to get to talk with the time traveler. Bye, Viddy. We'll miss you. Oh, that's very nice. Yeah. He is... What time is it over there? Let me look at my watch. Catch up this afternoon. It's like 2 or 3... It's like 2 or 3 p.m. over there, I guess. Yeah. He's from Australia, for anybody who is unfamiliar, so he is... It's like 2 or 3 p.m. Sunday afternoon. I think. Could be off. I have a GMT watch, and I'm looking at it, but I don't know if I've set the GMT correctly to his time. That's normally what I try to keep it at, but just so I have an idea of what time it is over there for him. Bye, Viddy. Nice to meet you, and may we meet again. Oh, it'd be wonderful. Yeah, I think Viddy's great. I really enjoy getting to talk with him. He's very disappointed that I don't sing, but arguably everybody else would be infinitely more disappointed if I did. So it's a losing battle either way. Dan's line of "I stopped watching when John left" is legendary. Oh no, he was definitely aware of it. There was a lot of tension. There's a whole thing. There's a whole conspiracy, which I think is fun. I don't think it's a conspiracy. I think it's actually found to be true. When they were playing Super Mario 3D World, which is one of my favorite playthroughs, there's this. There is this comment box that goes across the top of the screen, which is blank, and you can't leave a blank comment. And so they had, I guess, blurred the comment, and I think the original comment was "Bring John back" or "Where's John" or something like that. And then Aaron gets upset, and there was a whole bunch of actual drama around that time. for whatever the reason might be. And then they had the Star Wars series, the Starcade series, which I think is great, and they brought Aaron back. And I watched that not knowing that there was any drama whatsoever and thinking it was just a cool eye wink. I didn't know that there was drama. I learned about the drama way later. One second. Let's see. While we're talking about early YouTube video game horror, does anyone remember WGJ4K? Kind of crass humor, was fairly persistent, oddly deep in certain ways. I don't know. I don't think I know who that is. They sound familiar, copyright, but my brain is just hyper-focusing on Jenna Marbles and Filthy Frank. I knew of Filthy Frank, never really watched him. Jenna Marbles, I didn't watch until way later. My wife's a fan. She's fine. she's fine. She's fun, I guess. I wouldn't probably have been my style in the early days. I remember I would go to work and I would go to work and I would like put on Tobuscus, and it was just the innocent kind of random nonsense, you know. I've got a Tobuscus thing in my earpiece, so, you know, it was just this kind of innocent yelling random, you know. I don't guess I did a ton of YouTube way back in the day. Wacky game jokes for kids made by Hot Diggity Demon, the guy who would go on and do Brain Dump. I don't know what that is either. Poor Dan got so much hate for that. John gave his blessing to Dan Vitek. And there are instances too during JonTron episodes, during Game Grumps episodes with John in them, rather, where they talked about how much they admired and liked Dan and all of that. So it's a shame that Dan got as much hate as he did. But you can kind of see how nervous, or you kind of can feel how nervous he is, which I think adds to the charm in his early episodes, like his very laid back sense of humor in his very first gameplay was Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, and then they did Super Mario 2, and I would argue that early Dan phase is some of my favorite because he's just so laid back and so you can kind of sense the little bit of fear, like, oh, I hope I don't do bad, and he did famously. He's absolutely hilarious. Some of his jokes are just ridiculously quick and clever. What was one of them? Just little pieces that he kind of like. I couldn't stop my awesome Mario momentum, and these just little things he'll throw in. I'm like, man, that's genius. He comes up with this on the fly, and I could sit there and think all afternoon and come up with the first half of that sentence. You know. Filthy Frank actually pulled a successful musical career out of YouTubing. Now he's well known as Joji. Joji. Son of a gun. Yeah, I'd seen pictures of him. I didn't realize that. I also didn't realize he was only 33. Goodness. That's cool. Even as someone who couldn't really stand Dan Game Grumps, I never got the drama. I just thought John was funny. I think John was funnier, but I think they're funny in different ways. I shouldn't say. I think Dan to me seemed more clever. John to me seems more explosive. So I think it's different senses of humor. There are things that Dan will say that'll absolutely crack. One of the things I think that cracks me up actually the most is Dan cracking himself up. And I think one of my favorite moments of that, they just started playing, I say just started, they've been doing it for a minute now, but it's not that long ago, Space Quest 4. And Steam Train played Space Quest 4 way back in the day, Ross and Dan. Now it's Aaron and Dan. And there's a moment where they're inside of the GameStop equivalent of Space Quest 4, and they're reading through the games the titles of these games inside of this bin, and Dan and Aaron read this thing about Boom, which is a play on Loom, the game, and it just cracks them up, and that genuine catch them off guard. They can't even say the next thing they were going to say because they were laughing. That's what I get. Like hearing Dan crack himself up by that it cracks me up. John didn't do that often. It was just kind of him saying something silly and then he would laugh, and then John felt like more like somebody who was playing a game with a friend and just so happened to be being recorded. Whereas Dan and Aaron feel more like an actual professional comedic duo, but then there are moments of there are those moments of kind of cutting through the professionalism and just legitimately pulling something. I think Dan's also specifically the Space Bear episodes with pulling music out of Dan and Aaron's moments. Those are absolute moments of genius, especially considering that Dan is already, in my opinion, such a great and soft voice. But listening to him sing about the funky jerker thing from to the music of Sonic Frontiers it's actually quite a pleasant song despite the lewd content. My favorite early Dan moment is the entire Mark Zuckerberg text chain from Mario 64. Yeah. Are you okay? He's concerned for his friend because he was clearly having a mental breakdown. Aaron and John were competing chaotic energies, whereas Dan is more of a complementary chaos when he does choose it. Just my opinion. Please don't place my head on a spike. Oh, no. I think that's a fair way to say it. Like I said, I think they're both funny, and there are moments where I want John to listen to John, and I go to John, but then there are several moments where I go to listening to Dan play. I mean, there are several. I can point to several game series that Dan and Aaron have played that I go to constantly and just listen to. Even recently, their old Maniac Mansion is one of them. The new Maniac Mansion is too. Now that they've begun doing it again, the PC version. I love their sports games. I love the Dan's such a football fan, and listening to Aaron not know how to play football. So Tecmo Bowl and Madden 94 and all of those. All of those types of things. And I don't think John would have really but it's kind of akin to the Bill Lambier's combat basketball. That's the main barrier for me. When somebody cracks himself up, it makes it less funny to me. Again, no problems with these guys. I like Dan and his music. That's fair. I like it when people crack themselves up because to me it means that they were genuinely funny. Whereas if a comedian is working to crack me up, then it has to be perceived as funny. Whereas if a comedian can't get the joke out because he's laughing so hard, it doesn't matter about the perception. To at least somebody, it's successfully funny. But that's also perfectly fair. Again, it's some people do like. I like Dan cracking himself up. I think he's got a good laugh too. It's a contagious laugh. Also, I think it's got to be at least partially because they were concurrent with the rise of Hat Films, a Minecrafting channel that did the music thing better. I don't know anything about that. It could. I mean, again, it's also different experiences. I don't have a wide net when it comes to YouTube. I'm not a big YouTube guy. I like music. I like listening to philosophy, debates in philosophy, debates in law, and the Game Grumps, and maybe some AVGN and JonTron, but that's about it. That's the entirety. Oh, I use it to watch classic movies sometimes too. I'm a big fan of like classic horror, and I'll use it to watch an old Christopher Lee movie or an old Vincent Price movie or something like that, because they can often be found for free on the platform from the companies. So, or an old Peter Lorre film, something like that. I'm a big fan of classic horror, so. There's only one thing I know with absolute certainty. Aaron will never live down Smith's spelling. Well, he did something similar to that, too, when he was asking, and I cannot remember in what game it was, but it was like, what would it be if you spelled like B-E-E is B, but like, what would it be if it was just B-E? And then Danny's like, B. And he's like, yeah, but I mean, not B-E-E, but just B-E. And he's like, B. And he's like, you got me. And Dan's response to that was one of my favorite responses. Aaron losing his mind over the purples joke. He himself cracks in Majora's Mask as well. Sorry, we recently rewatched the playthrough. So no, it's okay. I think it's good. I think it's really good. I am the law. No, I am the law. Postal guy and a cat girl arguing with each other. I mean, yeah. Okay. I don't have a wide YouTube net, really. I mean, it's kind of a... It is. It's really just kind of a... I kind of have a little narrow group of things that I like to watch on YouTube. And if I venture out at all, really, it's with my wife and her being more adventurous and having more, but I don't cast a very wide net. I don't like social networking really a lot, and to me a lot of the stuff that comes out that's supposed to be entertainment is intended to get you to react and to comment and if I'm going to do that, I want to do it with somebody that I could talk with live, and then it's just, I don't know, it's kind of like this. It would be fun to do something like this as a voice chat. It would be very difficult to do. It would be very impractical, I'm sure. But I think it would be very fun to do something like this. But this is kind of a close way to do that. But it seems like that's what entertainment is. It's all... What is it? Mr. Beast, Jimmy Donaldson, or whatever his name is. And who can make the most expensive this and that or the other, who can, I flew a plane to 50 different states this hour, and how did I do it? And it's like, I don't care about any of that. I like the idea of unique and creative content, and I like the idea of comedy, and I think the Game Grumps have kind of been consistently funny for me, and I'd love more JonTron stuff to come out whenever it does. I think the last one I think he did was Animorphs, and I thought it was pretty funny too. I thought he did a pretty good job on that one. So, one of the better videos on YouTube, IMO, a cat girl trying to con her way into his home while a postal guy tries to get her to sign a petition. My goodness. Mr. Beast has Mark Zuckerberg robo eyes. What does that mean? I'm not sure if I understand. I think everybody's gotten into, and I get it to an extent, but like everybody's kind of gotten into the point of where everything is about making money. It's about having bigger numbers, and I've talked about this before with a lot of people. It's about this kind of rise and grind culture, I think they call it, and I get up at 3. I was talking with my wife about this. I get up at 4 in the morning. At 4:01, I drink 2 bottles of water. By 4:02, I've had a breakfast of pure honey and chocolate. At 4:03, I do 5 hours of powerlifting. By 4:04, I realize I'm not good at math. Things like that. It's this ridiculous series of routines of a lot of men who believe themselves to be Bruce Wayne, a lot of women who believe themselves to be Selena Kyle, and both of them I am completely disinterested in entertaining the notion of. I just don't have a time or space or place for it in my mind. And we do it outside of YouTube also, right? Everybody's kind of incentivized to, oh, well, if you get up earlier, if you give more of your life to this, if you do this, you'll make more money. It's like, I don't care. I just hate the fact that YouTube, an entertainment platform, had to become that way. It was inevitable, but I just hate the fact that it had to become that way also. And so that's why I don't cast as wide of a net. I want it to be things I genuinely enjoy and want to support, not just whichever channel has the highest amount of money and user engagement, and I don't know. When showing someone JonTron, the first video I always go to is, "Are you afraid of the dark series?" The kid checking his body for more hair. No. And it has the FBI thing on there, but it says "you sick." Yeah. That one's fun. I don't know. I like. Oh, what would be my favorite JonTron? Okay, so here's the thing that I like. Here's the thing that I like. Ocarina of Time Link. I like the very old JonTron. First thing he ever uploaded, as far as I'm aware, was a critique on Castlevania 64. Curse of Darkness. Is it? No, it isn't. It's Daikatana. And I like a lot of the... But of course, I mean, he's trying to do a legitimate critique. The audio's kind of wonky because his voiceover's nice and clear, but his on camera, you can tell he's definitely using the camera's microphone or something. It's very, you know. But then he's got like the music of, in the intro, he's got the music of Secret of Monkey Island, which is a great intro. I don't know, I like those. Here's why. It was him doing something that he liked in the best way that he knew how to. And it's just, he did a pretty decent job. I mean, I wasn't doing that. I couldn't do that back then. I couldn't do that 10 years ago. Which is, 5-6 years after he was already doing his stuff. He did that. He did Castlevania Legacy of Darkness, which was a 2-parter. I like going back to those and just kind of watching them in order. But if I had to pick of the modern, like post Dino City and post Dino City JonTron, Clock Tower probably is still my favorite. Yeah, I think so. Hold on, I'm trying to think. Clock Tower I like a lot. There's another one though. I don't know, the Home Alone games one's kind of fun a lot too though. That one I like a lot too. I think my comment got shadow blocked here. I was correcting a typo. Let me just reword it. Yeah, it's nothing. I don't have any parameters or any blocks put up, so I apologize for whatever is getting blocked. The Lion King games. He did a great... And the food games, too, that came before that. Or before or just after that. But either way. I love that... No, that's the auto-tune into the Lion King soundtrack is awesome. I do love that. He's just done so many that I really... He's honestly, some of the other ones he had done. The Ghostbusters one was pretty good, and... I don't know. He's done some really, really good ones. I kind of like the ones where before... I like the ones before he got out of the apartment, went into the brick house. Like, he was in this apartment, and he had, like... I think it was the pictures of three out of four of the Beatles. I know there are more than 4 Beatles total. But, like, 3 of the Beatles, the most well-known Beatles, and then a picture of Alf. And it was, I think that was the beginning, if I remember correctly, I think that was the beginning of the anti-drugs game one. And that one is great too, so it's just like... I also reiterate my rec for Retro to watch reiterate my recommendation for Retro to watch Brain Scratch Comms. It's basically a more intellectual version of Game Grumps. Their OOT playthrough was pretty funny too. Okay. JonTron is truly one of the greats, all considered. I think so too. I do like the Game Grumps. I like JonTron, but I don't cast a very wide net when it comes to YouTube. I don't really cast a very wide net when it comes to the internet, truly. I don't like the internet very much. I use it to my purposes. I get to talk with people such as yourself, which is a great honor, truly. And I think that's one of the ways that I've used it, and I think it's one of the ways that the Fates have had it to be made of benefit, I suppose, to us, is that we've attracted like minds to some extent. Different lines of thought when it comes to different topics, but the same line of thought that all topics should be able to be discussed in a cordial manner. But I think beyond that, I don't. I like pen and paper. I like to write out everything. I like to practice my penmanship. I like to read books and stories, and I like to play video games a lot. And when I do find myself coming to the internet, it's almost always my mainstays. And to this day, it might be Game Grumps, but it may not be Game Grumps from yesterday. It may be Game Grumps from 10 years ago. I don't know. But at any rate, I think it's probably... We've been going now for just shy of 3 hours, which is actually one of the shorter streams that we've done. We did finish the game, which I think is great. And as I said before, we are next week going to begin the new series. It will be myself and my wife. She will be playing The Witcher 3. I have played The Witcher 3 multiple times through. We literally own it. It is one of my favorite games of all time. It's my second favorite game of all time. Agreed, especially that Sonic 06 that birthed the era, and you gotta look inside yourself, quote. You gotta be a man, oh no, that's Hercules. That's the Hercules. Gotta be a man, gotta take out the trash. Yeah, I know it. No, that's the you see how much you can put up with. Not this, or I can't remember exactly what it was. Sonic 06 playthrough was pretty funny. Truly. There were some moments where there are things he says, you're like, wow, okay, well, I mean, he did say that. It's like, that's okay. He catches you off guard, but it's funny. That's a fun playthrough. That is 100 episodes, I think that is. They stopped at. I have Sonic 06. My God, that game is terrible. I have it, though. Some point in time, I might try to play it here. I have made it a point, I think Ash, at the request of Ash, has asked that at some point in time, I will play the worst game, in my personal opinion, the game that I believe to be the worst game of all time, which is Two Worlds. So at some point in time, I do endeavor to play that game on here. But Witcher 3, all things considered, my second favorite game, if KOTOR 1 and 2 can be considered a single entity, which I do consider them to be. If they are not, then it would be my third favorite game, but I would say KOTOR 1 and 2 are, to me, one thing. Two separate discs, one story. And, or in my mind, they are. And Witcher 3 is my second favorite game of all time, and it is a very narrow margin in between those two. And I have not had the pleasure of getting to share that game with my wife. And when I say I love that game, I mean I own it on every platform. We have it on GOG, we have it on Xbox, we have it on PlayStation, and we have it on Switch. It is on literally every platform. And the beautiful thing about that is the save games transfer. So if I'm playing it on one console, I could change it to another and don't lose my save. But at any rate, she has not had the opportunity to go and play it all the way through. She keeps getting stuck at a particular point and said she gets frustrated with this and that and the other. So what the idea is that we will let her play through, and then if she gets stuck or something frustrates her, I can be there to help her. Worst comes to worst, she could hand me the controller, I could get past the little part and hand it back. I think she can handle most of it. It's just going to be a little light guidance. It is something I think it'll be a lot of fun, and it gives us an opportunity to spend time together even more so, because a lot of times when we stream these single-player games, as much as I enjoy getting to stream them, I do lose time with her, and that's a dread shame, because my wife is one of the most fantastic people to have ever walked the face of this planet. So, it's really nice to be able to do something that she's excited about, I'm excited about, and that she is... she's wanting to do. Now, sometimes she will get tired, I'm sure, and in those interims we might play little odds and ends games, so I might pop in and do a Donkey Kong Country speedrun or an Aladdin speedrun or something fun. But for the most part, that's the idea for the next upcoming. I get that coder perspective, but would you say the same about the Mass Effect trilogy? It's one big story after all of the carryover decisions. Yeah, I would. I think the Mass Effect trilogy is very much the same thing. There are stories that if they have that carryover, I see them as 3 separate discs, but I understand them to be a single story. So if somebody came to me and said, I like, wanted to talk about the Mass Effect games and say, I like 2 best, then 1, then 3, that's fine. But if you said, my favorite game is Mass Effect, I'd say, first the whole thing, you said the whole thing, I'd say, okay, that's fine. That can all take the top spot. I think that's... It's kind of... To me, I view it almost the same way we were doing with Star Trek, right? When we were saying, I like Deep Space Nine of The Next Generation. It's like, you might, if we broke it up into episodes, you might like the second season of The Next Generation more than the first season of Deep Space Nine. You might like episode 3... season 3, episode 4 of The Next Generation more than you like season 5, episode 9 of Deep Space. But I understand those series respectively, and on the whole, that series is XYZ. So yes, the same thing applies for Mass Effect. To me, that's a saga, and if you decide to put it at 1, I can accept all 3 to be there, unless you specifically want to break it up. It was wonderful talking with you all. I relinquish my power over chat for now. I hope Retro and everyone have a great night, or day, whatever your time zone might be. Thank you so much, Triforce. And that's, again, my cue. Let me go ahead and move us over to here, where I say thank you for watching. Thank you for coming in at this very unorthodox, unconventional hour and having a conversation with me about a bunch of nonsense. It's been a lot of fun. I'm very, very flattered, very, very honored that you all had you took the time to come and speak with me. I know it's a little late. I know where some of your time zones are, and I think that it's a very I don't know. It's very, very. It's a great honor to have many of you come and speak with me as you do every weekend. It's always such a pleasure, and I really appreciate that. The Star Trek analogy is enlightening. I never thought of it that way. And you may disagree, and that's perfectly okay. But just as we were doing it, that's the way that I kind of see it in my head. But, yeah. Have a good anniversary weekend, Retro. Thank you. And what a wonderful memory. Thank you. Again, it's a great pleasure. A huge thank you to all of you who popped in. Of course, copyright, Triforce Wolf, about 600 Ewoks, because we did have all of those Ewoks. Maki Sprites, Thumb Bros, and, I'm forgetting somebody, but not really. Vidi. It's always a great pleasure to get to speak with you, to have you in. Despite all of your different time zones, all of your different places, you come and you speak with me, and we have fun and great conversations. And I really am, again, honored to get to speak with you all. But I hope that you do all have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend or night, your evening. Let it be restful. Let it be fun. Let it be exactly what you will it to be. And we will see you all with a new series and a guest next week. Take care.